You're muted, buddy.
You're muted.
There you go.
It should be coming in just a second. Greetings and greetings and greetings to everybody out there. You know what it is. Monday fun day. That's what they want to call it. Sunday fun day, Monday fun day. We want to make it a fun day. Anyway, fun evening. Because it's always good when you're actually here with us to talk everything comics. So you already know what time it is. Comic book talk with friends. Welcome aboard. So glad to have you here. Have some very special guests in the building with us to talk tonight. It's going to be a very entertaining discussion, as it is every weekend. Now, mind you, do want to say that all opinions are welcome, all discussions are welcome, but just be prepared. Be prepared. I just want to say that because, like I said, there's going to be some pushback. There's going to be some open discussions, but all opinions are basically welcome. But you might as well say this is the first take of comics. And I am not Stephen A. Smith, just to let y'all know that right now. I'm not that dude. But anyway, thank you for being here tonight. I want to introduce an amazing panel of individuals out here that we actually got on. So I guess, definitely like my brothers and when we got special guests, they're also my brothers. Definitely we have in the building. So let me just bring everybody here tonight and then we will address the chat shortly. But let me just bring everybody up so we can get them in here in just a second. How y'all doing? What's going on with y'all? What's going on now? First off, special guests first. We got to actually get them in here first. My man right here. If y'all follow, if y'all know anything about, comics, if you know anything about content creators that have great content, you got to know this brother right here. If you don't know him, and on top of that, he got the dopest hat on the pen. So straight up, all day, every day. What's going on with you? And on top of that, V, do you see his shirt? Do you see his sweatshirt, V?
Did.
Do you see his sweatshirt, V?
Kindred spirit.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey man, give me your. I designed these. Give me your address.
No doubt. That's my God.
There you go. There you go. All day, every
day.
Chris,
you and Vinny will get along because you guys are both very talented artists, man. You guys should see some of each other's work.
Definitely, man. Definitely, Chris. So glad to have you here. Journals Comics all day, every day, man. What is going on with you, brother?
Appreciate you guys, man. I know we've been trying to get me on here for a minute, and it just so happened that tonight we're talking this movie, man, and I'm really excited to be talking about it. Sure.
Yes, definitely, man. So glad to actually have you here with us to discuss this. And you're welcome anytime you want to dip in, man. Definitely, like I said, part of the community. Your stuff is on point all day, every day, and you goes in, and that's what I like. You goes in. That's what I'm talking about. But definitely, man, thank you for being here tonight. Next up, we got my man's second brother in the building, Dr. Rooster 7149. Thank you for basically being here. Comic book connoisseur, old head, just like me. Our knees are cracking while we sitting in the chair right now, but at the same time, you know what? We still here in the building, bro. How you doing, second brother, man? You good tonight?
You're good tonight, man. You must smell the tiger bomb all the way over there, man.
Hell yeah, you already know. You know I smell it, bro. I smell it. I could take it in all day.
Yeah, it's all good, but it's good to be on with you guys. Be on actually the first time with comic book talk with friends.
Yes.
That's my first passion. Besides these characters back here, is the comics, man.
Hell
that's
yeah,
my first passion right there. Always will be.
Thank you. That's where everything originates from, right? Creativity. Everything that we actually know about collecting, everything that we know about life in general starts from comics. Comics is that gateway to everything that is creativity. And this is why we're actually here, bro. So again, welcome you. So glad to have you here. We got my man Vin Dog. Now, Chris, I'll explain to you later why I reference him as the man with the room, the key master, as all day, every day. If you want it, he got it. Any selection, any curvature, he has it. So definitely we'll talk about that later on. But Vinny, what's going on with you, brother?
Man, what a week. It's been a heavy week. Just a lot going on from Andor to Black Panther to just so much going on. We say it a lot, and it's a blessing to be able to say this a lot, and as cliche as it is, damn, it's a good time to be a geek, bro.
Yeah, it is, bro. It definitely is. This is a safe space for us, man. We feel good about it. And again, this is like, again, it's our safety zone. So again, if for the negatives, you keep that on the outside. Here we protect each other on top of that with a strong arm, and that's how it is. It's how tight this community is, definitely. So when it comes to collecting, you in the right place. But also, if you like to be naked half the time and roam around the streets butt ass naked, then of course we have Mr. Butt Naked himself, the butt naked assassin, collected without fear. I said it, collected without fear. There we go. What's going on with you, brother? How you doing, Brendan?
Great, man. I've been looking forward to this for a while, for this discussion, just because I know that everybody here respects the hell out of what Ryan Coogler just did.
Yeah.
We had things we loved about this movie. There are also criticisms that are going to come out of the film, and sometimes we get a little heated when we do that. But that's good, because we're talking about, like you said, the creativity. And no art form is completely perfect. Everything, is subjective. And so we're going to love and critique this film tonight. And so I look forward to that. I think this just turned out to be the perfect one to have Chris on too. Because so I originally found Chris's channel because of some drama in the comic book collecting community a while back. And I was like, oh man, another one of these streams talking about this drama. And I almost didn't click on it, but then I did. And I had never actually seen somebody who was so willing to just, anybody who like shouted at him in the chat, like came at him from a place of negativity, he invited them to expand on what they were saying so they could try and find common ground. He invited them to come onto the stream on camera, send them the link, and was never more inviting of opinions opposite to his own than I had seen on any streams before. And that's a rarity, because most people just kind of want to use their platform to kind of shout what they want to say and not actually have a dialogue that's constructive. And so I respected the hell out of that. I had to, try and get him on here. And I think this is a great topic for him to be on for this one. So that just worked out. He's also just as big of a comic head as we are. I mean, he's got 20-something thousand comics behind him right now.
I believe that.
So I've been excited for this stream for a number of reasons. One kind of downside to this week, this past week, we'll say, we all know the passing of Kevin Conroy. We've lost a lot of kind of comic book and geek culture legends this past year.
It's
kind of shocking how many we've lost. That was, and it was also, I don't know, it was kind of apropos it happening when this movie that deals so much with loss and grief came out too. So that's, a down note, but we're going to try and lift that up. And we got a lot of great people in the chat. We see Mario and Lumi and a bunch of others. So I think it's going to be a good night, and Jason will be here, when Jason's here, as Jason does, but
he's here now. He's actually,
oh, here
back.
We go.
Yeah, he's back in the back. Jason, what's going on with you, man? Jedi Pimp in the building. Master Sergeant is in the building, aka Baby Powder Smack. What's going on with you, bro?
Oh, damn.
And then it cuts right out.
He smacked himself right back out the stream.
It's going to be one of those
I told
nights.
him he's got to stop using that AOL dial-up.
So it's definitely going to be one of those nights, man. So anyway, while he's basically trying to figure that out, I'm going to take him out while he tries to figure that out. We're going to address the chat real quick. Again, I just always want to pay homage. Before I actually do that, though, I do want to push. Like I said, I'm pushing this on pretty much all my channels, so pretty much, or all my shows, just so people understand what we're doing this time. Again, this is the month of giving. Again, we want to basically stress that. Thanksgiving initiative all month, and this is any proceeds, any super chats that we actually get goes towards families in need, families who can't afford to eat. We want to actually make sure that they have something to eat this holiday. If they can't afford food, we want to give it to them. Food for the homeless, food for those who can't and don't have the opportunities that we basically have ourselves. We want to provide those opportunities. All super chats, everything from Halloween all the way up until Christmas. All super chats are going towards donating for families who are less fortunate. And I think that's what I was put here to do. I think that's what all content creators should be looking at, is giving back for families who need. And if I have to take the initiative to do it myself, I'm definitely going to do it. So definitely, this is the Thanksgiving initiative. Just want to put that out there. So any super chats that actually go up, they go towards that. And again, we do appreciate your contributions. And, you know, this again, it's the perfect month to do it. And then we have Christmas next month. Can't wait for that, because normally what I do is take a lot of my collectibles, a lot of figures that I have, and I'll take it to the local children's hospital for cancer patients to make sure that they are provided with things like that. So definitely do appreciate that. Appreciate your contributions. And also remember, give back. Pay it forward to people who basically are in need, especially if you have it to give. Make sure that you do so. Comes back 100
the Halloween
fold.
initiative too, because that was great to get kids costumes for Halloween and enjoy it. That was a big success, so let's keep that going.
Yeah, let's definitely keep that going. It was such a success. We got OG Mando, my guy, OG Mando. This guy is probably one of the nicest individuals. I talk to him pretty much every day. One of the nicest individuals I know. Leo, I will give you more if from my community. Hey, anything helps. Anything that you basically provide, you know, definitely is going to be something that we actually give. And again, we always provide proof that whatever you donate goes towards a good cause. So you'll see videos, you'll see pictures. You might even see Vinny's room. But anyway, it's just one of those situations that we want to make sure.
That's steep.
That was a stretch.
You got to donate. You got to
break that.
He tried it.
I tried. I did try that. Chris, I try this shit every week, bro. It just doesn't work. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but you know, it is what it is. But anyway, Jedi Pimp, please tell me that this works this time, bro. You set? You ready? You hear me, bro?
I'll be getting kicked out. I don't know what's going on.
Don't move.
Yeah, I hear you.
Don't even move. Don't even move. Just stay still the entire time. Just stay still.
It ain't me. It ain't me.
Just stay still. Stay still.
I've been getting kicked out.
Nah, just stay still. Don't move. No, you moving, bro. Stay still.
It's Florida.
Just stay still. So anyway,
seriously,
I know
it's Miami, bro. It's Miami.
You can't stream with an Etch-a-Sketch, man. Come on.
How you doing, brother? How you been? Ooh, before we jump
Square
in,
Balls
bro,
came in.
my man SpongeBob Square Balls is in the building.
Spot.
And thank you so much for that, bro. It's such a pleasure to have you here. SpongeBob Square Balls, and all he has is a turkey
Hey, come
leg.
on, say his name right. Come
SpongeBob Square Balls. I ain't seen you in a minute, bro. But interesting story about him.
I like how he dropped the turkey leg, just the turkey leg.
Yeah. Interesting story about my guy. If you meet him, and I had a chance to basically meet him, he himself, and I just want to put this out there. I hope that he has in mind, but he himself is a cancer survivor. So I want to actually pay homage to him. Thank you so much for all that you do, and also shout out for being such a trooper, and on top of that, a survivor. So definitely, man, I do appreciate that. He get kicked out again. He definitely got kicked out. Yeah. Damn. Thank you very much for that, man. Yeah, he'll be dipping out all night. So again, let me address the chat real quick. We got Philip the Fool. We got Toy Box in the building. We got Mario El Profesoro, the man with the beard. Also, we got another super chat that actually came through just now. $4.99 super chat. This is from Rodney, $4.99. Whatever we can do to help each other out. That is what it's all about. You know, the more super chats we get, you know, that key turns slowly, if you know what I mean. So the key turns slowly. So anyway, we got Philip the Fool in the building. We got Calvin Williams
slamming the deadbolt, man.
I know. We got Calvin Williams in the building. My guy, Cal Williams. When I think about Cal Williams, I think about the hands. That's the guy with the hands. That's my man all day, every day from LA. My man. We got Mike Rodriguez in the building. We got Mario in the building, the beard god. Tobar. Who else we got? Let's see here. SpongeBob. Yeah, we got him. Let's see here. Man, what is in the building? We got Luminar in the building. I wish we could have brought her on because I know she is so excited about this movie. Also excited about that figure. I am too. We got Renz Talentino. Pedro Lopez is in the building. OG Mando, as always. Vinny's out there. We got, let's see here, Xander is in the building. Amber May is actually out there with us. AJ Agrusa, my man Kay Carter is in the building. Thank you for being here. Let's see who else we got. Thomas Brown is in the building. My man Thomas, can't wait to meet my dude. Blurred Dad for Life. Mikey Lito is in the building. My man Mikey Lito, thank you for being here, brother. Who else we got? Said my man Keith, Uncle Keith Tobar is in the building. Who else do we actually have here? Yeah, and that's it. We got a couple people basically going to be sliding through later, if they haven't already. Oh man, we got another super chat. Damn, it's going to be a decent super chat night. Thank you very much for that. Paying it forward, AJ Agrusa, the guy with the God beard. I call him God beard excellence. Thank you for being here. And my man Benjamin Green is in the building. Also, we got Riley Reviews is in the building. Thank you for being here as always. So again, we'll get Jason as soon as he gets in here, man. Like hopefully that internet starts working a little bit better. But I know we got some things right off the top before we actually jump into tonight's discussion. We got some things that we're going to definitely talk about. First off, Vinny, I know first off you wanted to show a couple of pictures that you actually sent me that you wanted to kind of go into really quick. I'll pull these things up in just a moment.
Yeah, I'll just go through them real quick.
Give me a second.
Coming off of Inktober, I was gonna take a art break, but with Wakanda leading up to Wakanda Forever last week, I was inspired to do a few pieces real quick for the film. So I did like one a day in Inktober Spirit, one a day from like Monday through Thursday, and featuring a character from the film each day. Mm-hmm. So that was fun. That was exciting. Definitely inspired even more so from the film. So so I just had to throw some of these up. This is a Namor inspired by the John Byrne reboot in the 90s. So I just like flipped the inspiration to the new version of Namor and just switched it up, changed up the outfit, and redid the background a little bit, stuff like that. So had so I wanted to do a Namor piece for a minute anyways, and this movie was obviously a good motivation to finally drop one. And then the next day I believe I did
hold on.
Next day I did Okoye, and finally got to do her. Been meaning to do an Okoye piece for a few years. I finally dropped one for her, and then I did a Shuri with the comic outfit and in the ancestral plane with the Panther, and then I finished up the week with
this one. This one hit hard, bro. This one hit hard. Like definitely hit hard, bro. Like I felt it. You know what I mean? Like I really felt it, and that's why I was like, yo, I got to put this. There was so many people that love this one right here, bro. And I've seen a lot of them like the whole week, but this it hit in a place that it was like, yo, okay, Benny, you gotta stop. Like literally, you gotta cut it out.
Because this white color pencil on that, or
no? This is Copics. Yeah,
it's
nice. Yeah, it's all Copic markers. That background is just just blacked out. But yeah, just I'd done a couple of Black Panther joints, and it just had to do one for Chadwick. Obviously we all miss him, and this whole thing is basically one big love letter to Chadwick. So he's definitely dearly missed, and obviously made so much of an impact that it changed the whole course of how they decided to go forward with this film. So when it comes to that, I had to do one for just him. Because I originally was going to do a Black Panther like maskless and just have a T'Challa piece with just Chadwick's, where you got to see Chadwick's face, but I figured I wanted to just put all the attention on just the man. And so we all owe a lot to this man, bringing this character that we love so much, and that many of us grew up never thinking we'd really get a chance to see on screen. And we finally got to see it, and it was just literally a celebration for for the culture, for Black culture, for comic culture, for just everything that he did in bringing that character to life. And so say whatever the hell you want about this movie, it's hugely impact the game by his performance in the first film, and that will carry on basically forever. So had to do one close out the week with inspired by Chadwick piece.
Definitely, bro.
Yeah.
And appreciated the artwork on this joint is incredible, bro.
Thank you much, man. I appreciate it.
Definitely had to pull that up because it really spoke. Really quick before we dip in, I know Brendan, you wanted to talk about new comic releases and stuff like that. We got my guy, second brother. You didn't have to do that, but you did it. 1999 super chat for the cause. Thank you so much, bro. Even though you're on the actual panel, you still donate, so we do appreciate that, bro. And excuse me, all that you do, man, and thank you for being here as well. Let's see here. Hopefully, this actually works. Cross your fingers, Jason, in the building. What's going on, bro? You hear me? You hear me, Jason?
Yeah, I hear you, man. I don't know why I was getting kicked off. I updated my computer and it's been acting crazy.
Yeah, I don't know, bro. But just well, if you get kicked off and you come back in, we'll just bring you back in. Ain't no big deal.
I'll just jump back in. I'm a soldier.
Yeah.
I can take it.
Yeah, definitely. So if you get kicked out, we got you. We can bring you back in here, brother. But yeah, man, thank you so much, Brendan. I know you wanted to talk about some new comic releases and stuff like that.
Just some quick recommendations so people have. So I figured I gave these at length to Jason while he was in the shop. So I figured just share them with everybody. I don't have a stack of books in front of me right now, but just the most recent runs of Moon Knight is really, really good. We just had issue number 17, I think. Ghost Rider is firing on all cylinders with Johnny Blaze. And what else was it? While I liked the event, I thought the finale was a little bit anticlimactic of Axe Judgment Day, the Omega issue that they just put out to kind of wrap it up. I do like that because the Eternals lead up to the Axe Judgment Day event was really, really strong. And I think they set up a really interesting new direction for the Eternals moving forward. I understand some people did not like the film. The film is very different than what you're going to read in the comic. So I urge you, if you did not vibe with the film, don't let that put you off from trying the books, because I think they're really doing a good job right now. So that's something worth checking out. And one other one that was big for me that I really enjoyed, it's quirky, but I think it's a really good piece, is it's creator owned too, by Brian Michael Bendis, put out through Dark Horse, but it's called The Ones. And they just put out the first issue, and it's basically this kind of quirky type of typical Brian Michael Bendis style, but a bunch of different chosen ones from various prophecies. But these are just like in modern day life, like everyday life right now, are all brought together because they're by this one person who like kind of monitors all the prophecies. And now there's this one prophecy that's happening where there's really an actual like the chosen one. And now these people all have to kind of come together to somehow deal with this real chosen one in this apocalyptic scenario. And it's funny, it's quirky, art style is cool, and I just love Brian Michael Bendis' writing. So if you've enjoyed his stuff in the past, check this one out. It's through Dark Horse. It's called The Ones. That's it. We'll, next week we can go more in depth into some comic, recommendations and stuff when we're not doing a full movie dissection. But just wanted to throw those out there for some people so that if you're looking for something. Also, actually, the new issue of Wolverine was pretty good because that sets up some pretty cool conflicts moving forward. So maybe check that one out too.
Definitely. Thank you for that. Jedi Kid, man, we didn't get a chance to really talk to you really quick, but before we dip into that really quick so we can jump into today's topic. Let me unsolo butt naked, so we could. I'm sorry, Chris. Did he tell you about? Did he warn you before you came in? He didn't.
I have no idea.
I knew he wouldn't. I definitely knew he would. We got a $10 super chat. My brother cousins, this will help you pass out them turkeys in the hood. LOL, just playing. This is a great cause. Thank you so much for that, bro. Definitely appreciate that.
Yeah, good
very
cause,
much.
Yeah.
And then we actually got another super chat by let's see here if this wants to come up. Yes, Renz Talentino, the great Renz Talentino. Still waiting for that Vinny Renz Talentino collab. He says, thankful for this community. Thank you very much for your contribution, bro. We do appreciate that. Jason, man, what's going on with you, bro? How you doing? How was your weekend? And did you have to smack anybody?
I had a good weekend, man. Just enjoyed Veterans Day with the family. Went to hang out. Went up to Orlando, hung out again for the weekend. Just chilled, man. I had a good time with the kids. So back to work today, and now I'm just here with you guys, kicking it about this movie.
Definitely appreciate that, bro. Thank you for being here as always. But you didn't answer my question. Did you have to smack anybody?
Not this weekend, no.
Okay.
No, I took a day off from that.
You took a sabbatical.
No.
Okay.
Yeah. My hands a little sore on this side, so I took a sabbatical.
Anyway, my man.
You have a recovery day.
Yeah.
That's just this side from smacking. Had to relax.
Definitely. Thank you very much for that, and always for being here. Anyway, we're gonna jump into this real quick. Again, this is going to be spoiler talk. Again, if you haven't seen the movie, this is your chance. I'm just warning y'all, this is your chance. Really quick, before I do that, we got another super chat coming here by my man Thomas, bro. All
Big
day, every
Thomas.
day.
What up,
Big
boy?
Thomas, my guy, coming through with the super chat. He says, while I had masterful performance, the film was so depressing. It lowered my immune system and ended up testing positive for COVID 2 days later. Are you for real? Is he for real? No,
Wow.
Tommy's stupid, bro. I talked to that boy a couple times.
But did he? But did
funny
this?
as hell.
No, for real though. Did you? Are you seriously? Did you test positive for COVID? Because speedy recovery if you did, bro. I mean, I don't want to laugh at that.
Yeah.
Because that's no joke.
Yeah.
So hopefully you.
Now Tommy good, bro. I talked to that boy
good.
all weekend almost, bro. Back
yeah,
and forth
that's
about
my
the
guy,
movie.
man.
He's funny as hell,
that, bro. Funny as hell. Thank you very much for that, bro.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did test positive. Hey, man, I've been through it. I know what you're going through. I've been through it.
Well, hopefully we can get past that. But anyway, we're going to jump into this real quick. So yes, this is full of spoiler discussion. So again, this is your chance. If you haven't seen the movie, if you had seen the movie, so let's go. Anyway, I'm going to pass this on to Chris. I'm going to get this to you first, bro, because I want your all-out thoughts. You just your thoughts, going into this film. What were your expectations? Did it sort of fulfill certain expectations? Did it let you down? Just your thoughts on this, bro.
Man, appreciate it. Again, appreciate you all being here and allowing me to be here. Where do I even begin with this, though? I got to spend a couple minutes or a little bit of time talking about Chadwick before I talk about this movie, because I think that's very important.
Yeah.
I just want to say, like, I was doing a live stream when I found out, and I had to go in and tell my kids, and my youngest broke down in tears.
Yeah.
It was like, I can't deal with this. Like it, and I remember when it happened, and I went back on my channel to do a stream, and I'm not all one that, a celebrity death. And I'm not too big on just because somebody's a celebrity that we have to, oh my gosh, it's so, but this was real to so many people because of what this man did. And if you look at not just Black Panther, but what he did in every single role in every movie that he played, we have people throughout history, especially if we're looking at, members of the Black community that go through their struggles. You can go back to Malcolm and Martin, who used their platform. Muhammad Ali used boxing, but he used his platform. Tupac, music, platform. Chadwick used acting. And I think that is very, very important to understand on why it meant so much when he passed, to look at the character that he brought to life and say, what do we do? Like, how do we move forward? So that alone, I knew ever since, we knew a second movie was coming. When the trailer drops, it's like, I can't, I'm sick to my stomach. It's like, I can't do it. I can't go and watch this and accept it, but I will say, I went in from that opening scene, man, like, damn, I'll tell you.
Yeah, bro.
It gets you, man. And I was able to, I think they did such a great job by honoring him in a way, but then yet still telling the story that they needed to tell.
Yep.
And fleshing out characters and having it just working on all cylinders. And again, not to say that it's a perfect movie, but from the beginning and then to that closing end, like I'm getting chills just thinking about it, man. And the one thing that really stood out to me, that really meant something to me watching it, was that Letitia, Lupita, like Angela Bassett, all that, like they weren't acting.
That
was real raw emotion throughout that movie. And that right there, even so much so, was what made it so much more powerful. And I can't finish without giving props to Ryan Coogler, man. Oakland. But
Oakland all day.
This dude, I mean, he earned so much more of my respect with this film.
Yeah, definitely, bro. I think, and the thing is, bro, like when he passed, like you talked about when he passed, bro, like I remember sitting in the living room, me and LaToya were sitting down watching TV, and of all things that we were basically watching, bro, like literally, because remember, this happened during the pandemic. This happened when we were basically in the middle of finding out who the new president of the United States was going to actually be. We were actually in the midst of all the drama, with the voting and everything like that. And I remember watching it, and I got a notification on my phone first. And I was like, well, here's the thing. I'm watching CNN. This comes across my phone. I know that basically CNN is going to, pretty much broadcast everything. They're going to let you know it's going to come across the bottom. Didn't see it yet. So I was like, yeah, this is probably some phony-ish. Not even 4 minutes later, bro, it pops across the screen. I could not believe it. It shook me to the core, bro. I was like, wait a minute, nah. And the thing is, it's like you said, we're not into, a lot of politics when it comes to celebrity passes. Again, we have a heart. We do understand that basically everybody, who has a life, who's lived their life, and whose life is taken earlier than it's supposed to, hearts go out to them and the family condolences. But we're not as invested because, again, it's like we live our lives in a totally different spectrum. You know what I mean? So, but this was something different. It was something different because we got a film, number one, that we years ago would have never thought we would actually get and see on screen. Okay. We got it from an actor who gave us a catalog of great films. Get on up. You know what I mean? Like the list goes on, bro. Like everything that he's played, he's excelled in, and to know that this man, because originally, like I thought when I saw him, I was like, yo, wait a minute. When everybody was talking about he was sick and stuff like that, I knew that he had also put up information about he was actually there was information that came out that he was going to actually play the first Black Samurai. You know what I mean? So a lot of people thought that he was losing weight for that film. That's where I was with it. But then, and when people were talking about he's frail and stuff like that, there were a lot of conversations about his weight, and that became the subject matter and stuff like that. That became the running narrative. But to know that this man was really, really sick, it was like, wow, it crushed me, bro. Like me and LaToya sat in the living room literally and cried. Like we cried because I don't know why it hit the way it did, but then again, I realized why it hit the way because the thing is, he was on screen for all of us. And it wasn't just, it wasn't just for the Black community. It bridged the gap. I remember when the movie dropped, when Black Panther dropped, the first film dropped. Everybody, we went to a red carpet event, bro. Everybody, whether you were white, Black, Hispanic, Asian, whatever, everybody was wearing kente cloths everywhere. Like literally, I saw that everywhere, bro. And it united a culture in a time when we needed it. You know what I mean? But it was kind of sad that ironically, when the country itself was divided, we lost someone who was important. You feel me? And that just really, really ripped me in half, bro. So definitely like, again, it was, without really going too deep into it, definitely, I'll get into my thoughts on the film, but I just wanted to kind of touch on what you actually said. But second brother, being that you're also a guest as well. Tell me what your thoughts were on this, and how did it affect you, bro?
To piggyback up what you guys said, the passing of Chadwick, it hit me pretty hard because it came around the same time I was going through about dealing with cancer with my mom.
Yeah.
And she, rest her soul, happy birthday, Mom. Today is her birthday. And
happy birthday, Mom.
COVID, she was fighting that battle with colon cancer and got backdoored with COVID. So him passing and, dealing with the struggles and actually watching the treatment and the things that have to be done when a person is battling that hit me pretty hard. It hit me pretty hard, and it was just like it was unbelievable. It was unbelievable. Just like what you said, you was thinking like, wait a minute, somebody just playing games, somebody putting fake notices out, and then it brought me back not to take no shine off of Chadwick, but it brought me back when Paul Walker passed. That hit me pretty hard because I'm a car guy. That hit me pretty hard.
Yeah.
But all in all, the film, I personally think with the Ryan did a hell of a job, bang up job, considering they had to flip up a whole script. They had to, basically just dig from nothing to make something this great. And one person, everyone was incredible in that film. And I think, me personally, when I was watching the film, I couldn't keep myself together because I was in tears almost half the time.
Yeah.
Half the time. And the thing of it that brought me that way was Angela Bassett's passion as a mother.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what you turn around and felt, the personification of a mother.
Yeah.
And the love and the loss. And we could get further into the film because I could go into this for hours. But it had an effect. And man, Chadwick, for all the things that he turned around and brought us, all the roles that he played, all the icons that he have played and done a fantastic job. It was like you only get one of those actors in a generation, and I think Chadwick was one of those actors for our generation.
Definitely was.
It definitely was. But for all in all, man, it's only with Richard Pryor said, only which way but up at this
point. That's it, bro.
Way but up.
That's that. Exactly. I feel you. And again, he spoke for a culture, bro. He definitely spoke for a culture. And I won't say, the thing is, I'm going to go on this and say this. It wasn't that his presence wasn't missed in this film, because his presence was. I mean, we knew who he was and what he brought to the table. The first Black Panther that we actually got a chance to see on screen. I remember, and I'm pretty sure everybody does, watching when they first announced, I think it was at D23, when they basically first announced Civil War, and you see both Chris Evans and Robert Downey Jr. walk out on stage, and then they make the announcement later that Chadwick was going to be the Black Panther. That shit shook me. I was like, what? Okay, I'm ready. You know what I mean? So seeing that, but we didn't know how it was going to actually translate on screen. Enter Civil War. And that's when you knew, we got the right dude. He's about to carry us to a place that we have never seen before. Like literally never seen before. And then knowing his history, everything that he basically presented, it was definitely incredible. Loved it. So again, like everything that he's actually done up until this point, up until the passing, it was just like, it was just a body of work, and we were anticipating the second film, and then he passes. It's like, whoa. So again, it's like his presence was definitely felt, but I think they handled it exceptionally well in this film. They handled it, and they answered a lot of questions to me that I wanted them to answer. And it kind of cleared the slate for things to come. So that's where I was basically happy about it. And like I said, we'll get that. I just wanted to kind of go around and get everybody's first initial thoughts before we deep dive. Brendan, your thoughts?
I enjoyed the hell out of the movie. I think I think it ended up being exactly what Ryan Coogler meant it to be. It was a way for people to process grief and to mourn the loss of Chadwick and the loss of Black Panther in that iteration. It was very, I mean, it was a movie about all of these characters figuring out how to move forward in this world without him. And that's what all of the actors and people working on the movie were going through when they were making it. So this was almost autobiographical for them. I really enjoyed this movie. I don't think it was a perfect movie from a filmmaking perspective, storytelling structure. I think there were some things that that I didn't love. But overall, I think what they were trying to do, I think this is an amazing piece of filmmaking, given what they were going through at the time, and to come out with something I think this powerful, that a lot of people who were skeptical going in have since come out and said, okay, all right, like, I'm on board with what he did. Maybe I don't love every decision, but as a whole, you got to respect what he just accomplished, what the whole cast accomplished. I mean, I've always been an Angela Bassett fan, but damn, I mean, there was, like you guys said before, in some of these scenes, there was actually no acting. It was raw emotion. It was just them. But they just gave it to us in the context of these characters, which is a really hard thing to do. So yeah, I really enjoyed that. Obviously, we'll get into specifics about different characters, how they're used, Riri and Valentina, and and all of those things. But yeah, overall, I enjoyed this. It's definitely in my top 3 for this phase. I'm not sure exactly where I land on all of them because I'm bad at ranking those. And I know this being phase 4, people are like, in the top 3, like, it's got to be better than that. While the flow and the connectivity to the larger story of phase 4 has been lacking, I mean, 2 movies that immediately come to mind that I really enjoyed in this, that I think most of us did, were Shang-Chi and No Way Home. So, saying top 3 just means I'm not sure where it falls in that, but that's a respectable thing because I think all 3 of those are excellent films. I think as far as emotional impact, this definitely had the most. But I didn't get to go for a second viewing. I've only been able to see it once, and this is definitely the kind of movie that I feel like you need to watch more than once and soak it in and kind
process.
of process it, because there's a lot in it. And his absence obviously is felt, but it's also supposed to be, because it's felt by the characters and the actors in this film. They're feeling that while we're feeling it watching it. So yeah, I genuinely believe this is an excellent piece of filmmaking. We'll dissect different elements of it as we go. But I'm happy it was made. I'm very happy it was made.
Definitely. I can't speak enough about it. Real quick, we'll go to Jedi Pimp, and then we'll go to Vinny. Jedi Pimp, man, your thoughts overall right now, going into the film. What did you how did you take it, bro?
The overall thought of the film was, I liked it for what it was. I mean,
did he freeze up?
He froze up.
Once you go to him, then it freezes.
It always does, bro.
Well, we can circle back to him.
We'll definitely circle back to him in a minute. Vinny, let's go to you, bro. While he's trying to get that together.
Yeah, it goes without saying that this was a film that wound up being a different journey than they were hoping to going into a sequel here, and it was an impossible choice kind of by everyone involved on what to do, and I mean, there was no way that you were going to make everybody happy. There's no way that this was going to be what they anywhere near what they would have done had Chadwick not passed. And obviously, there's huge debate for the past few years about what to do with this character, and everyone had their own opinion about it. And without getting super into it, I definitely wanted to see, the character, live on. And I felt like that is a possibility that could have been done even doing the film this way if they were smart about it, and they clearly were. And the result was we got a film that was so much more than a comic book film. This was basically a very special film about loss and grief that we obviously would have never gotten if things didn't turn up. I mean, it was something that was, talk about making, the best of a situation, because that's what they did. And, you've talked like a lot about how Coogler's responsibility was not just to the fans, it was also to his crew and his cast. And to have, just went forward with a different T'Challa, it might have made for a better film, but wasn't morally the right thing to do for his family. Because at this point, we're watching a fucking family on screen. They love each other.
Mm-hmm.
That was more important to him than whatever we think. And that is sometimes okay. Sometimes father knows best, right? So taking care of your crew and your family and making sure that they're okay was more important. And what it gave us was such an emotional, send off to Chadwick, and they still managed to make it fit, in the vibe and sequence of what Black Panther needed to be to move forward. Not the way it would have been, but they still found, their own path through the woods to get there. And in that path, we got a lot of decisions that we probably never would have gotten in the first place. We got a lot of performances that we would have never gotten in the first place. And we had a lot of, extremely difficult and challenging filmmaking done along the way. And there was just so many amazing performances. And unintentionally, this bookends WandaVision as phase 4 being one long journal of processing grief.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So from WandaVision to this, it's we have 10 years of explosions and superpowers and bombs and flying and all this, and then we end it with this phase starting and ending with basically PTSD and trauma. And that is something that the Scorseses and the Camerons maybe don't give these films enough credit for, that they're not just all punches and powers. There's also a lot of emotional storytelling and filmmaking going on in these films, dissecting the human condition. And that's what this film, more than anything, set out to do. It did exceptionally well. And it had, its fair share of problems along the way, but one thing that you can't take away from it is that it's a beautiful film in and of itself. And I think that everyone involved needs all the flowers for what they did with this film, because it was such a tough spot, so many eyes and so much pressure to deliver. I can't imagine the pressure for Coogler going into this. I can't imagine the stress that he was under, trying to put together what he had to do with what he had. And I feel like he did an exceptional job, and I'm like still processing what we've seen, because it's extremely heavy. And we all miss Chadwick, and they did what they could to make this film a love letter to his legacy as far as the character goes and the actor goes, and please as many people as possible along the way, which is damn near impossible. So there's so much more singularly to break down through this film, but overall, I love the ambition of the risk that it must have been to take to do it this, emotionally heavy ass way that they did, and
with a heavy hand, bro.
it was a heavy hand. I feel like it made it in its own way just transcendent of your typical comic book film. And I feel like the first one was too on a cultural level, and this one was on a emotional level. So these films, are self encompassing in that of what they try to achieve, because that first one was a milestone, and in terms of what they set out to accomplish for for the first black major superhero in the comics getting shine on the big screen and setting all the records in the world, and then going out there and trying to accomplish an entirely different task. And so shout out to everybody involved, because wow, we all sat there with a jaw on the floor at what they did for this film. So it's very, very special film.
Ryan Coogler might be the guy to help us process our grief over the destruction of Thor and Hulk too.
Yeah, we'll get there. We'll get there. Definitely, we're going to get there in a minute.
That's true.
And I want to give a special shout out to, and I know he doesn't get the flowers that he deserves. Well, he is getting them because he was brilliant. The soundtrack in this movie, Ludwig Göransson. Ludwig.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. The soundtrack.
Yo.
I looked over to you. I couldn't see you, but I looked over to Bruce like 3 or 4 times. Yo, you hear when Shuri was talking to M'Baku, those strings on Blood for Blood.
Yep.
Yeah.
And Shuri's
Yeah.
ascension. I'll basically talk about her ascension when we found out who the Panther was. I'll just put it that way. That right there, that part, it hit on so many levels. I was like, yo, that shit was fire. Yep. I love this soundtrack. I mean, he definitely outdid himself on this one. He definitely killed it, and I see why Ryan Coogler works with this guy closely. Before it actually drops again, Jason, I'm gonna go to you real quick. What's going on, bro? What were your thoughts?
Yeah. The movie, like I said, my opinion has been unpopular, but I like the fact that they gave us, we all got to experience the grief of the cast members. As far as Chadwick's loss, losing him was just tremendous. I think the movie for itself, it had a lot of beautiful scenes, especially with family and between the Queen and Shuri. Namor in it was amazing. That dude, he was fantastic. I think Angela Bassett deserves a fucking Oscar. I mean, let's just be real with life. Like, she played the Queen like no other could. I have just a couple issues. Like, I mean, with me, Riri Williams, I love her. I have that whole run of Ironheart. I loved it. People hated that book. I don't know why, but I love their whole Riri Williams story from the comic. I love it. But I feel like they use her as a filler. Just my opinion. They used her story as a filler because anybody could have designed that machine, So it was parts with the car chase filler, Riri Williams filler, but her overall character, that girl nailed that Riri Williams part too. Like, Shorty, like, she killed it as Riri Williams. I loved her as Riri Williams. That's just like right out the comics. She looks like a little bit too from the comic. I just feel that the film, I mean, it filled a lot of woes for certain people. I think it answered a lot of questions for, a lot of us. We got to see Ryan's vision for what it was for not having Chadwick there.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, definitely, bro.
Unpopular, not the best opinion, but I mean,
when it comes to Riri, I honestly, like, as much as I do love the character and I love the actress who played it, I think that they could have wrote a better story for her.
Yeah,
it could have been a better story.
I agree.
Written for her. You know what I mean? It could have been a better story attached to her because it's richness in the character, and we got a chance to briefly touch. But the beauty of it though is we know that we're going to get her own show, so I think that they'll dive into that more on her own show. This was mainly an introduction, and I think I talked about this
Yeah.
before. I think this was the exec saying, we need to slide something in there to prepare people
Something to
for
fill it up.
what's to
Right.
come.
It
With
was
the
the
character.
prelude to the
Yeah,
show.
it was
Yeah.
definitely a prelude to the
But
show.
my thing with her is like we only got like a small piece of that girl's brilliance. So to see it just slam down our throats real quick, I'm like, I just don't really like that. I think we should have got. I know it was a Black Panther movie, and we didn't get Black Panther until near the very end. You see what I'm saying? But the fact that we only got like a shared piece of it, they could have saved that part for Disney Plus. I mean, that's just me. You know what I'm saying? Like the film was beautiful, bro, but it was so many filled parts for me that I couldn't enjoy it like I wanted to. Shuri is my girl. Like I love to see her evolution. I'm pissed off it took her mother dying for her to come out of that shell. You know what I mean? But I mean, like I said, the movie was good for what it was.
I'm a little torn on Riri myself because I love the actress that they cast. I think she's great.
She's great, bro.
But at the same time, part of me is like, she's like 19, 20 years old at MIT. One of the things that I loved about the character in the books that I think was very important.
She was young as hell. She's like
she was only 15 in the book. She was a prodigy.
Yeah.
And she was doing the stuff that she was doing impressed Tony Stark because he was basically the age that she is in the movie when he was accomplishing the things that she was in the books at like 14, 15 years old.
Right.
And that's what put her on his radar.
Right.
And that was core to that character and also to her relationship with her mom and her upbringing because she was still in that younger phase of life. So as much as I love the actress that they got to play her, part of me was torn because I was like, man, I wish she was a little bit younger. I wish she was more that age in the books because I think that plays a big role in her character overall. So like I said, I was a little torn, but ultimately I think talent wins the day. And if it means this girl who, is playing a 19, 20-year-old version of Riri is going to knock it out of the park in the show, I'll be okay with it. But that was just kind of in the back of my mind while I was watching the movie.
Well, maybe they show it in the show. Maybe they show her when she's like 16 making that Iron Man suit in the garage. You know what I'm saying?
Well, yeah, but I mean, they haven't even shot that. You can only, she's still going to look like she does now. She looks, I guarantee, a lot different now than she did when she was 15. So that's what I'm saying is more just I wanted to see some of that younger Riri. So you get the emotion of her being in that stage of life, but also the fact that it emphasizes the nature of her as a prodigy because she's doing stuff 5 years ahead of when geniuses like Tony Stark was. You know what I mean?
Was doing it right.
The story was a bit rushed through for obvious reasons, stuff like that. Yeah. But definitely the actress nailed it, and it also, once again, it's always telling when you actually have black writers, black directors, and you have black characters that sound like black characters instead of what white people think they sound like.
Exactly.
Definitely.
You know what I mean? It came across like really obvious that like this seemed like a normal girl, not just like a stereotype of.
Especially with the wisecracking and cracking the jokes.
But it was subtle. It wasn't like
I super. Some of my daughters, bro. Yeah.
But it was subtle and organic. It felt right. You know what I mean?
It wasn't basically in your face. And
exactly.
Here's the thing, because when I look at it, it's like for her, I'm just all hopeful for her. And this was like seeing this right here, it harkened back to, again, Iron Man, just Tony Stark, his arc. But to see, because I'm looking at it like this, I wasn't looking at this for me. I wasn't looking at it through my eyes. I was looking at it through my daughter's eyes. I was looking at it from my daughter's perspective. I was looking at it from any black teenager, any black female teenager who's, basically stepped out, jumped off the roof or jumped off a cliff without a parachute, hoping things would happen and just wondering if they matter. This shows them that they are and they can. So looking at it through her eyes and knowing how, even with the wisecracks, she was one of the smartest individuals in the room. And I know that they're going to basically explore that. Seeing her banter back and forth between her and
she
Shuri.
saved the day without her strategy.
Shuri, yeah.
Exactly.
Shuri's dead.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Without and that's what I'm saying. Like, she was the core of that, even though basically she built the machine, you know, for the government that they utilized for their own personal advantage. You know, that's pretty much, you know, what it was. It is what it is. But I think that it was, again, I'm not looking at it through my oculars. I'm looking at it basically through, you know, hers. Chris, what did you think about Riri's performance in this film? How did you feel about the character?
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty much on board with everything you guys said. This is a situation where I think we've gotten so comfortable in being able to have so much content where we can actually pick this stuff apart. But I think when you look at all the like kind of how these characters affect or impact us as human beings, and like you were saying, like our daughters, these young children or young Black girls that need you know, these characters to be able to look up. I'm gonna grab it real quick here because I think this is important.
Yep.
Because I got this hanging on my wall.
Let me solo you real quick, bro.
That's
yo.
Yep.
Yo.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I think that's very important. So I think, you know, we as grown adults, you know, that could sit here and pick this stuff apart. It's cool, but I think for those kids going and seeing her on that level, even though, yeah, I agree, you know, they could have fleshed out the backstory a bit more, but just for them to be able to be like, oh, whoa, you know, like that, I think that was awesome, and I think that might be one of the decisions why they wanted to introduce her in such a kind of like a big film, and said, oh, well, let's just introduce her on Disney Plus. I mean, we already see how the haters will dissect and kind of almost impact public perception before a show. I mean, they try to do it with the movies too, but we know that some of Marvel's properties, the Black Panther property, is already too big for that. It's going to do what it does.
Exactly.
So, and another, you know, Oakland just representing Shanaka Hodge, doing the writing for the Ironheart show
all day.
Yeah, I've met her. I've been to some of her. She used to do local poetry shows in Oakland. Did some open mic stuff. Like I mean, I don't know her like personally like that, but I just know that she is going to give that soul in that depth to that character in that show. So that's probably why I'm not like too concerned that, it could have been a bit more in the film. I'm going to wait and see what happens in this show.
And that's what I'm saying. The show is going to depict her in such a way that we're going to understand the character. And I think they wanted to say, here's the thing, like, we want to see these things because, again, we're looking at it from, and I talk about this all the time. Like, sometimes we don't understand from our own selfishness, our selfish intent, which is not always bad because we, you know, a thing is we're hopeful for these things. From a writer's perspective, they have a story that they're supposed to tell, and they know what to say and what not to say. They know that they basically have to save some of that for her own. And I do basically, that's just like, for instance, bro, when we got Civil War, we got Peter Parker's art, but everything wasn't fleshed out until we saw his film. Once we saw the film, that's when we understood more about the character. So again, you can't give so much away in a movie that's not really based on this particular character, because they want, number one, again, they're looking at it from a perspective of, now we're telling the story of Shuri. You know, we're telling the story, you know, basically of her mother. You know what I mean? We're telling the story of loss. Again, we know that with this particular story, and they're putting a lot into it from basically what we know. They're putting a lot into this particular story. Again, it's one of those situations where we just have to wait until we see her property and then see everything that's going to be fleshed out the way it is. But I definitely agree. I mean, I love this actress, bro. And I think for what she was given, she did a great job. Yeah. She did a great job.
They set up Shuri to kind of be her genius intellect, superhero mentor in the vein of what you had from Tony early on, you know, when they first met. And then once he was in a coma, the AI that he uploaded for her. So like, she's
went to her
you know, Right. So Shuri can kind of be that role by introducing her into this. People on the big screen, which is their biggest platform, get an introduction to her and then are maybe more likely to watch the Disney Plus show. And Shuri can then kind of carry into that mentor role there. So yeah, I have no problem at all with them introducing her into this. I think they did a good job. We just have to see, where they go from this point with the Disney Plus, because we've had the younger characters like this, the Kate Bishops and the Kamala Khans and stuff like that. We've been introduced to them on Disney Plus, where the stakes tend to be lower and stuff. And now Riri has already been in a major blockbuster in the MCU, has been in a major conflict with the Talokan army and Wakandan. She's been in the thick of it, so now she's going to be going on to a smaller scale in terms of storytelling, which is the reverse of what we've seen with the other younger characters that would potentially be the Young Avengers. So I'm interested to see how they bring her into Disney Plus and what the scope of the story is that they tell there.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Before I move on to the second brother, do you have any thoughts on this character, man?
I'm waiting to see, when she have her show, it was like I could tell they just giving little snippets of her, and they don't want to, I guess, how can I put this? They don't want to blow her load in that film. And there's so many questions. And it was like, I kind of felt it was a little filler. It was a kind of a little filler there. But so much that they had to work with and kind of had to work around and try to fit her character in it. But to be honest, her suit, I hated it. I'm sorry. Yeah, I hated the suit. I love the character.
And the rockets on the back look weird.
I'm kind of in the same camp as you, second brother. But I don't know.
Yeah.
I think this is one instance where I think the CG on the suit was bad. I thought the CG looked
was bad.
It pulled me out. It looked kind of video game. So I'm not sure.
It wasn't as bad as Midnight Angel. At least it wasn't that bad.
Yes, that wasn't great. But so
that was horrible too.
I definitely would have preferred them to go to a more comic accurate suit for her. But I'm not sure if I completely dislike this suit, or if it was the CG that made me not vibe with it as much. So I'm kind of waiting for the hot toy, actually, to kind of see what I really think about this suit. No, I'm serious, though, because it might be that, the design isn't that bad, and it's the CG that I wasn't really liking.
Part of it was the CG. I'm sure it was.
So I'm trying to. That's what waiting for the hot toy,
because it looked like a Gundam to me, and
it was a little too glossy.
That's what I was thinking the whole time,
it
bro.
Looked like a heart. Yeah. Like the shoulders, they were trying to make it look like a heart. It was a little over the top. Yeah, I agree with you on that.
Yeah, but overall, her character is. I mean, the character is amazing, and And the thing I loved the most was looking at two intellects conversing and having those mental challenges with one another. With Shuri and Riri.
Shuri was impressed with Riri.
Right. To see the genius.
Very impressed.
Yeah. And it wasn't over the top. Because, with certain people when they're at that genius level, there's a form of arrogance that come with it. She's just chill, like, hey.
She was happy to be there.
Right. She just chills, like, look, I got to do what I got to do, but you guys got to protect me because, this little bit over the top was going on. Yep. But she held. I mean, she did what she needed to do. She held her own. Her story in the comics. I'm going to explore that more because that's something I am definitely missing. That
whole arc was awesome, man.
That's something I'm definitely going to go back and dig into my Marvel app and read up and catch up on. But overall, she was a good addition, and it was a good intro into what is there to come. What is there to come of that character? But just to see the interaction with the intellect between her and Shuri man, that was damn on point and an inspiration for every young woman, let alone black woman, to see.
Yes.
Definitely.
Yes.
That's
Definitely.
the most important thing right there, because you got people that are amazing people that at genius level, and they don't get that shine. They don't
Definitely.
get that shine, and you can in this film and more films like it, you get to see more of that to show that
Definitely.
that is a reality. That is a reality, and that is something that somebody made up. You have geniuses out here, and
Genius intellect, and it was there. Definitely. And but I would be remiss because I couldn't wait to talk about this. I would be remiss if I didn't bring up the simple fact that bottom line, I'm just going to say this from the very beginning. The person who carried the ship on this show, on this movie, who killed it, and if they don't get an Oscar nod, and if they don't get, come the fuck on, bro.
Oh,
like straight
Angela
up.
Bassett. Yeah.
Yo,
Angela
listen.
Bassett. Yeah.
Bro,
Yeah.
this scene.
Yeah.
This scene.
Yeah.
This fucking scene. This scene.
She shut the UN down,
bro. But listen, after this scene, and the thing is, she shut him down without even opening her mouth first. But just to look from side to side, just to know that everything you just said was complete bullshit. But I'm gonna let you talk. I'm gonna let you have your moment, because I'm about to get up and shut you down just for a second. Angela Bassett, to me, now it's coming from a place where she was phenomenal, but this will probably be the only space where I explain my gripes about this fucking film and what they did. But it was an interesting choice, but I had to understand they're taking a different route. But we'll get there. But her entry into this, Chris, I'm gonna start with you first, brother. Angela Bassett's performance, to me, was she put her all into this. It came from a place of not only loss, but it felt like it came from a place of what we were going through at this time, why we were doing this. I'm paying homage to someone that we've actually lost, but I actually also want to speak about what was going on at the time that we were filming this. And this UN scene was the perfect opportunity for her to do it. It was incredible. Chris, what did you think about this, bro?
I gotta, for those that know me, I might bring up Tupac quite often.
Oh, okay. Good reference point.
He saved my life. Literally, that's another time. But
no doubt.
Like he said a quote. I'm not saying I'm going to change the world, but I guarantee that I will spark the brain that will change the world. And to me, I live by that quote. I taught my sons the same thing. And funny, if you guys ever watch, and everyone in the chat, if you have not seen Chadwick Boseman's Howard University speech,
yes.
Oh man,
you gotta watch that speech, because Chadwick, I don't have it off the top of my head, but I need to memorize it. He said a quote in that speech that was very, very, like, completely different words, but very, very similar to the Tupac quote. And it's about carrying, basically being able to nourish the soil, not just for us, but for those that come after, right?
Exactly.
And again, I'm getting chills even just thinking about this, man. This is like we didn't even know this man. Yeah. These people, like you guys said earlier, like family. They, this is somebody that impacted their life, that they knew, that changed their life. And to go into this film again, like, this was the spirit of Chadwick. And not to take anything away from Angela Bassett or any of the actors and actresses.
Doubt. Yeah.
No doubt. Like, they went into this knowing that, this was so much bigger than just another movie. And everything, like I said earlier, Chadwick Boseman did everything he did. He used his whatever gift that God or whoever he believed in was acting, and he took acting to be that spark to make that change.
Yeah.
And that soul, that was embedded in all of them in this film. And I believe Angela Bassett carried that fire, you know. So again, it's not just it's the emotion of the mourning, you know, the mourning, the real human, but it's also understanding that deeper ideology of what Chadwick was doing with his life, that life purpose. But then lastly, you also do have to look at, again, there is cultural significance in here too, that I think again, like Chadwick was the Malcolm or the Martin, you know, speaking to the, you know, like
the people, to the masses. Yeah, definitely.
And these are my people, and now they're carrying that torch to get those messages out. So when you combine all those things and that fire power, and again, I think it gives credit to the connective roots and the connective branches of the tree of Ryan Coogler, Chadwick, and everyone else that was involved. You could tell that she took the head of Voltron to carry them all through what this was supposed to be, and to get that power across.
I couldn't agree with you more.
She looks like an Egyptian goddess in this scene, bro.
Exactly.
Like, powerful,
her performance and how powerful she was throughout this entire movie was legendary. And here's the thing that I have to speak on this really quick while we're here. The thing that I hate, and I hated hearing, but again, to each their own, and I respect everybody's opinion. To say that there was a loss of a lead presence in this film, that there was a loss, and that crazy. It took everybody as an ensemble to make up for it.
Yeah.
And to say that there wasn't, that was a slap in the face.
That's crazy.
To everybody that was in this film. A slap in the face to an Oscar-nominated actress.
No doubt.
An Emmy-nominated actress. That her body of work speaks for itself. Her catalog speaks for itself. So for you to basically say that, may he rest in peace, that he would have made up the difference, and that it took an ensemble, that there was no presence of a lead, I highly disagree with. Because this woman put on an acting clinic that lets you know that, yes, we are mourning the loss. Like she said, we are mourning the loss of our king. But don't you think for 1 minute that we are unable to protect ourselves and protect everything. And that's the way I think she was saying it. Don't think just because we are mourning the loss of our brother, don't think that we're not going to carry this film where it needs to be. And I think that she did a hell of a job. Vinny, what you think, bro?
She that UN scene was reminded me of Claire Huxtable, yo. She just lit him up.
Shut him down.
Just shut, you know what I mean? Just,
and I'll say, what do you want to eat?
Man. It's almost like that's the first thing they shot. It feels like it. There's that much passion in it, that much emotion, and it's been said, obviously a lot in it. I feel like it's meant to be said because there's so much truth to it. I imagine that there's many instances in this film where it does not feel like they are acting. It just feels like they're just pouring their hearts out onto, the film tape, man. It's like she was just, clearly channeling her grief. Via the medium that she was given to let those emotions out, and that's why it was such an important outlet and decision made to do the film this way. And she absolutely was just crushed it the whole way through. Every scene she was in, from the UN scene to the throne room. I mean, that performance with her and Okoye was absolutely gut wrenching, and it was gut wrenching. It was because they both were right, and they both were wrong. It was so powerful, and it goes to show Why when a show like Game of Thrones or something like this focuses on dialogue, no amount of superpowers can match the weight of it.
Exactly.
It's
Exactly.
because that's real. That's us. That's in all of us. That passion, that the fear and human, condition that they're all going through. It was just so powerful, so beautiful, and I love that she got to, shine in this way because she did in the first film, but this gave her such a bigger platform to just absolutely just shine, and that those scenes all throughout the film, she just was just tremendously heartbreaking scenes, and it is no hyperbole to say that she deserves an Oscar for this performance, and I really hope that it's seriously considered, because comic book films just aren't taken seriously when it comes to those types of awards, and this is one of them that, like I said, transcends what you think a comic book film, what most people I imagine would think a comic book film can and should be, and I think it deserves that praise and recognition, because she was unbelievably
She's
powerful.
phenomenal. Definitely
Mhm.
phenomenal. Brendan, bro, butt naked. Did she put on a butt naked level performance for you?
Don't say Angela Bassett and butt naked. You're gonna get me excited.
How
Exactly.
Brendan got his clothes back.
Brendan.
Yeah. Brendan got his clothes back.
She got
Yes,
a
sir.
groove back. My clothes went.
It definitely got that groove. Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
I love. I mean, honestly, I think two of, if not the most powerful scenes in this movie are hers. It's this speech,
Mhm.
and then it's the one to Okoye.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, I think this particular scene was, like you had touched upon, Lael. I think just as much as it was contextually in the plot, we lost our king, but don't think for a second that we're incapable of defending ourselves on the
Mhm.
world stage. It was, we lost Chadwick, but don't think for one second that that means Wakanda is done in the
Mhm.
MCU and in the cinematic, the comic book pantheon,
Exactly.
because it's not, and he wouldn't want it to be, right?
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
they are taking it upon themselves to make sure that that is not the case, that it does continue on. And I think they did. I think they did a great job with that. I loved that she was used the way that she was used in this film, because uh, I've been a big fan of hers for a long time, and I did think that she was underused in the first movie. Um,
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes. I agree.
I also thought that there was maybe a way that they could have used her in Endgame, with
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
the,
Yeah.
talking about the world recovering from the snap in that 5 years, and her kind of stepping into that, that leadership role while her kids were snapped away, and could have had some really powerful scenes in Endgame. So I'm glad that we got what we did with her in this.
Mhm.
um Part of me is bummed that we don't get more of her in, the TV show, because now we might get some flashbacks, like they could use her in some capacity, but I would have loved to have had her be a part of a full 8 or 10 episode show on Disney Plus, where we really get to see more of the character and more of her as the character. So yeah, because I mean, again, like, this scene was great and this was very powerful. I think it was the second one. I think it was the one with the Okoye, that I liked even more, because you saw the agony, you saw the pain on Angela Bassett's face, right? You saw the pain in Ramonda's face, and you saw it in Okoye's face too. They were both feeling that agony. both the characters and the actors. And that one I think was the most powerful for me. And that one was the one that we had talked about, in previous discussions, from when there was a snippet of it, a very brief snippet of it in one of the trailers. So we didn't have that conversation with Vinny because Journal, just so you know, Vinny does not watch trailers at all. He avoids all trailers,
at all.
everything.
I do that too. Once they start releasing like the second or the third one, I'm like,
I went back and watched the trailer for Black Panther afterwards because that's what I always do, and I was just like, oh my god,
first trailer was amazing.
There's so much. They gave away less in the second trailer than the first trailer. It's
But so I will say, like, we were kind of talking about that, like, both of I'm the head of the most powerful nation in the world, and both of my whole family is gone.
All my family.
We were kind of speculating, was that maybe a flashback to to the snap where and she's talking about while T'Challa
that's what I thought originally,
and Shuri are still gone, or and the way that it ended up unfolding, I think, was so much more powerful because she's yelling and venting that pain on somebody else who's been one of her staunchest supporters and allies in Okoye, and who would have gladly given her life to save T'Challa's, or Shuri's for that matter. And so that scene had so much more power in the film because of the actual context of it. I mean, Angela Bassett just absolutely crushed it. Once again proving how criminally underused she was in the Green Lantern movie. But I was so happy. I was so happy that she was in this role and that she brought that power to this movie. Because I don't think it wouldn't have hit the same way if it weren't for her.
It would have hit totally different. It would have definitely hit totally different. It wouldn't have been in the same content, and it wouldn't have. She brought the level of power, and again, like you said, I didn't know that she in that scene was talking to Okoye, but it made perfectly good sense because, again, she was angry because she lost her husband. She was angry at the time that nothing and no one chose to step up when her son, presumably at that time, had passed away and almost been lost. By Killmonger, accepting him as a king, knowing what his intentions were, and not fighting against it when the opportunity was there. So when you think about it, she was angry and had every right to be angry at that time.
But it was powerful because she was wrong too, because Okoye was putting country over a person, which is her job.
Over a person,
was doing her job.
And that also
which was such a tough decision, but she was doing technically her job.
But
and that just speaks to how we process grief too. That we're not always right, but you can be like right and wrong at the same time because you're dealing with that tragedy. And that's exactly what it was. It was like, on the one hand, you felt everything that Raimondo was saying, and then on the other hand, you're like, but damn, don't take it out on Okoye. She's just doing, and so you felt her pain too. It wasn't a one is right and one is wrong. It was a both hurt.
And it did make sense to be mad at her because it's like, all right, she's not. Why are you taking her? Like,
as a parent, absolutely.
She didn't need to be.
Yeah.
Because when you look at it in the whole scheme of things, she really didn't need to be
because you didn't know anything about these people. Like, just seen this motherfucker come out. That. You just seen him infiltrate your defenses, and then you take her into the unknown. It was a stupid move.
Yeah,
in hindsight, obviously.
But she didn't need to be there, but she did need to be there. She needed to be there, number one, to communicate to Riri, because again, we know Okoye is not good at communication. She's act first,
but Okoye
talk
would just
later.
Kidnapped her.
Exactly.
Well, you know what she's good at? That bridge fight, dude. Oh my god.
Hell yeah. And that's who I wanted to basically kind of go to next. Was Okoye. Was the simple fact that Denai Guerrera, again, even though I'm bummed out, and I guess we can basically say that for everybody who's here and you don't understand it and why we were basically talking about Angela Bassett, She dies in the movie. And that choice for her dying in this fucking film, that's the only thing. When I was so pissed off in the theater. I was squeezing my fucking popcorn bag. My baby was like, baby, don't, baby, don't, please, baby, please, I'm hungry. But I was squeezing the fuck out of that bag. I was so angry because I was like, damn, why does she have to die? But then I had to actually go back at the end of the film and think about this is Shuri's journey.
Right.
This is Shuri's journey, and there's motivation that was actually needed. I know we're talking about, and it's again, everybody who's here has seen the film. There's no surprise that number one, who she becomes, and Shuri becomes the Black Panther. We've seen that. It's been hinted. Boom, there it is. If you haven't seen it, come on, she's the Black Panther now. But it was her journey at getting there, which is why I wasn't upset at the simple fact that we briefly seen her in the end and on the third act as Black Panther, because it was a lead up to getting there. It was a lead up that everything that she had to experience to know and find out who she really, really was. But at the same time, and which we'll get to that a bit later, I don't want to kind of touch on that right now. Okoye had her own personal journey as well, and I want to actually touch on that first. Okoye was a beast. That bridge scene just showed you how much of a beast she was as a general. Like literally, like she was a beast going up against Atuma, and everybody knows about Atuma's characters in the book. He is a traitor against Namor.
He's a traitor against.
He's definitely a traitor.
Which this film sets up perfectly.
It sets up perfectly because he is a traitor. He is someone who, again, is pretty much against everything that Namor believes, and that kind of plays itself out in the comics. But for her fighting Atuma, that fight scene was absolutely phenomenal. It was incredible. I loved actually seeing it. Second brother, I'm gonna start with you first, and then I'm gonna go to Chris. What did you think about that scene, bro?
Man, that scene right there was just like, damn. What else can you give? What else can you give? And all of us pretty much know by seeing Atuma's character there and knowing if us comic book guys, knowing what he brings and seeing her standing up is that strong, magnificent sister, and is basically taking his ass to task. Taking his ass to task. And you turn around and look at it, it's like, I was in the theater like, oh, this ain't finished. Oh, this ain't finished. Because you can turn around and see that Okoye is actually just grinding at the damn bit. Like, I want more. I want more of him. I want more of him. That's what you turn around and saw. But Okoye's character as a whole, that scene between her and Angela and what she said, for what she turned around and said to the queen of what she lost, I was like, oh shit. I was literally like, oh shit. She shouldn't have done that. She shouldn't have done that. Because she got that full wrath from the queen. But, all in all, I just can't wait. And isn't it, I've been kind of out of the loop with different with other things. Aren't they doing a show just
Wakanda? Yeah.
Wakanda show.
Yeah.
Okay. So that right there was where all those questions and the things that we want to see more of with her would be there. So, for the things I saw, the fight with Atuma, everything, I'm just like chomping at the bit to go see this film again. For me, to take the time to dissect those pieces.
Yeah.
Right there, man.
Yeah.
Right there.
That was no nonsense.
No nonsense.
Like I'm ready to fuck y'all up. Like that's just the way she was. I'm not playing. If you think you're getting past, you come close and I will kill each and every. And she meant it. She was not playing. Unfortunately, she's messed with it. Pretty much. Godlike figures like creatures in a sense. We got a $2 super chat real quick. By Lumi. She said Okoye. That's what it is. Definitely.
Okoye all day.
Okoye all day. Chris, this scene, like, because we saw glimpses of it in the trailer. Vinny didn't, but we saw glimpses of it in the trailer at that time, and we didn't know where it was going to go. And first of all, I just have to basically say this: I'm so glad Okoye didn't die. I am so glad that Okoye didn't die. Real quick before Chris, you go, my daughter. This is my baby girl, Skyla, is in the building. Thank you so much, Pumpkin. I shouldn't have said that because she's 23 years old. I can't. I got to remember she's not a young girl anymore. I can't even call her by nickname on here.
Right.
This movie was so amazing. I can't even think of the flaw. I overall enjoyed it so much. I love this cast, and Namor sold it on his performance. Yes. We're going to talk about him in a minute. We're going to talk about him in a minute.
Oh, I can't wait to talk about him.
We're going to talk about him in a minute.
We're going to talk about his ass.
We're going to talk about his ass. We definitely going to talk about that ass. Straight up. So, yeah, Chris Okoye, you have the floor, brother.
It blows my mind because I'm on. I shouldn't be anymore, man. I'm tired of being on Facebook, but I'm in the comic book groups and the Marvel groups, and I see it, and I can't believe how many people are sitting here dissing this film, saying that there was no action.
Bro.
I'm like, what?
I don't know about that.
Like, what do you want?
Yeah.
You want Michael Bay to come in and just blow things up, like
blow everything up,
boom, like, and that's it. It's like, it's crazy. Like this to like, dude, this is, although much more condensed, this had the kind of the feel that reminded me of Winter Soldier.
Yep.
When Steve meets with Bucky, Winter Soldier, the first time,
pulls the mask off him when he
and he catches the shield, like that kind of dynamic. I mean, very, very similar thing. Maybe there's a little more hype around those two characters now, but still, I mean, that's what was done here. And I got to give credit to like what actors and actresses do these days in terms of putting the rigorous training in to actually to work these scenes, man. They do that. Like, they do that shit, man. So absolutely. I mean, like, you had this film, I think, in terms of action, was well balanced. Well balanced. I thought it had that epic scale, similar, again, not comparing apples to apples, but similar to like Infinity War, because you have buildup that leads to these bigger battles, but then you have moments like this that really just drives that kind of that adrenaline in that way. And I think it was done perfectly.
Definitely, bro. I can't. Definitely, bro. Everything you said, the amount of action, it was, to me, it was the right amount of action given the circumstances. It was the right amount of action given the simple fact that this film was a farewell film. It was the right, and you knew it. If you're getting Namor in this film, if you're getting Okoye in this film, if you're getting M'Baku in this film, it's going to be, come on, man, stop playing. But I loved everything that we actually got from this film. I was excited about it from the word go. I mean, I don't know what everybody's looking for, what their intentions are, but I think we got a hell of a good action film. Damn, who wants to go next? Y'all just going. Who wants to go next about Okoye?
Well, just on this scene, this scene was shot masterfully, and it took them months to do this bridge fight scene. But everything about this, from the sound design, if you go back and watch this scene and you listen, it's not overly hyped up with music. The soundtrack is very subtle, and you hear every impact of her spear in the concrete against Tuna. You hear every blow, every hit. It's so visceral. You feel it, like, especially if you go and you're in like Dolby, like, you hear and you feel every impact. The sound design in this scene is masterful. The cinematography, the camera movement is perfect. The lighting on this is phenomenal. You can see on this bridge they sprayed down the surface. All right, so at nighttime when you spray down a concrete surface like that, it shines, it reflects. So that's why you're getting otherwise this would have been a much darker scene and it would be really hard to follow this action. The way they shot this, and I've been on this bridge many a times, it's not that far from where I am right now, okay? This scene was expertly done. And like you said, it's not just a balance of the right number of action scenes and the right length of action scenes, but it's where they fall into the rhythm of the movie. Now, personally, I did think you could have shaved about 20 minutes off of this movie, but I also have a very specific thing that I think could have been shaved off. Not just in general, it felt too long. I think there was a very specific thing that you pull it out, the flow would have been much better. But that being said, where the action beats happen in this, every one of them makes sense because you'll notice that before each one, there's a tension buildup. It's like you're shaking the bottle and you're ready to just, twist off the top and have it explode. And each of those scenes come at the right times. And that's so Ryan Coogler and the crew from a cinematography and just filmmaking standpoint absolutely crushed this. The post-production with the sound design was amazing. And I can't say enough about Okoye. I mean, she was so powerful in this. She was so badass. I 100% agree with Journo. The comparison between this and the Winter Soldier scene on that street. Exactly. This was just absolutely amazing. She was such a powerful character in this. I would have liked if maybe there was a little bit because her husband from the first movie was imprisoned because of supporting Killmonger instead of T'Challa. So I would have liked to have maybe seen her dealing with the fallout of that a little bit because she lost the Black Panther. She lost T'Challa, who she loved and supported, as her leader. But she was also dealing with losing her husband in a sense too. And I thought that maybe could have been brought out more in the scene where Angela Bassett is talking about her losses, because you realize that Okoye has sacrificed and lost a lot for Wakanda and for the leaders that she's been supporting for so long as well. So I would have liked a little bit more of that, but I mean, her performance in this is absolutely amazing. I can't wait to see more of her in the Disney Plus show.
I feel like, whereas to me, Namor is still the show in this film, but she's still the show in the first film, and I love that they gave her more to do in this one, and she's asked to do a lot in this series, in this franchise in general, because she's not only like a complete badass, she's also, a very slight comic relief. Like, she's funny, and on top of all that, she's acting her ass off with Angela in that throne room scene too. So she's wearing many hats in this. And then she's also got that great, she has great bounce off relationships with everybody she's on screen with. Like, even with M'Baku, like, you bald-headed demon. Like, that was probably the biggest laugh in the whole fucking film. Like, in our theater, it was such great chemistry with everybody. She's such an incredibly
the ashy head joke with her and Shuri,
it was just boom, boom, boom. Like, every scene she's in, she commands presence. She's just incredible. This the bridge scene was phenomenal. The action choreography. If you know me, I'm a huge martial arts head. I love when action choreography is respected, and they went out of their way to make the fight look real and realistic. Like, when she got her shoulder fucked up, like, everything about that fight was just incredible. And it was terrifying too, because, like, this isn't just some other soldiers that she's going to war with. Like, you don't even know, like, they look like aliens to her. She doesn't know what the fuck these things are. The only issue I had with this bridge scene that was weird is connection to something further in the film, where when she takes out those soldiers on the bridge, they get back up, like they have a healing factor, or like they basically like revitalize, right? But then later Nakia kills one easily with the sonic gun, and I don't know if it's ever really established very clearly that that's a weakness for them, and how Nakia would have known it, because that healing factor doesn't come into play any in the climax third act of the film, and either does using sonic weapons on them in the third act of the film either. So it's like two just really random things that doesn't get addressed later, and I felt like that's one of the things that kind of bugged me with the film and in this fight with them. But that's one of the few minor gripes. But Okoye as a character is absolutely stellar. I would have been really rocked if they had killed her. I'd have been beside myself. I'd have been really pissed if they fucking did anything to her. I mean, I don't think it really makes sense that Angela died. I don't think it makes sense at all in the scheme of things. I don't think it adds anything to Shuri's growth for her to lose her mom. But thank God she didn't lose Okoye too, because now who else does Shuri have to look up to for advice but Okoye?
Exactly.
I will say, just before you jump to somebody else, Vinny, I disagree slightly on, as much as it pains me to lose Angela Bassett and her character for this, I feel like because there's a year gap between the main events of this movie and when T'Challa dies at the very beginning, I think Shuri has been like stifling all this anger in herself and has lost the faith in a lot of their beliefs, like the ancestral plane and things like that. And she's been really, really struggling with life and who she is, and struggling with the loss of T'Challa. And I think the loss of her mother is what pushed her completely over the edge to where she almost became Killmonger. And I thought that was really powerful, why she saw him in the ancestral plane versus T'Challa or anybody else.
Which is my issue. I feel like that would be something that would be almost impossible to come back from losing them both of that such a short period of time.
Well, but that's the superhero journey to come back from.
You know what I mean? Losing T'Challa itself could have done that. Now, if T'Challa, like if there was, if obviously it was T'Challa was still here, losing Angela would have been a obvious move, but to lose them both, that's tough because.
Oh, absolutely! I just think to me it was losing her that pushed Shuri over the edge that she then had to find her way back from. She finally gave in to all the anger and the rage that she had over the loss of T'Challa, because now it was just unbearable to lose all of her family. Her father's dead, her mother's dead, her brother's dead. And now, like she said, I've lost everybody who knows who I am. Yeah. So I think she had to go over that edge to then part of her superhero journey was finding her way back. Yeah. I think there were some flaws in that, but I do understand the impetus behind
Do they address?
Well, actually, I understood that. Sorry, actually, I understood
Sonic weakness at any point.
Who's
Sonic?
weakness?
No, they didn't address.
No, they didn't.
That.
No, they didn't.
They did not.
It was
right
all right. Just making sure I missed something, because I'm like, how the hell did that was something that still bothers me.
I don't know if that's something they're going to address later
after she killed him. Like those were lethal strikes, and they got right back up, and none of them had that. None of them got right back up in the third act. And they didn't use sonic weapons to put them down then. Why wouldn't they? It just doesn't make any sense.
Well, the only weakness they found was Namor's weakness. They didn't find the other ones. Yeah. They really have a weakness.
They used Sonic under the water when they first showed up, which, first of all, I don't know, attacking them in the water
was kind of stupid.
Why would you do that?
I mean, that's dumb to me, but
I understand that there was, it's nitpicky, but that's a really
it's a valid story.
It's a really questionable strategic decision to go attack Namor's
in the water.
In the water with the ship.
Yeah. Second brother, what were you saying?
No. What I was saying was the whole thing with Shuri losing a mom, and I was upset to see that the queen died, but also all the conflict that Shuri was going through. That was something to wake her ass up.
Yep.
For her to step up to the plate.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
That was right there. It was like, okay, I'm upset about my brother, yes, but okay, I need to handle business because everyone else is bullshitting around right now. Losing my mom.
Everybody was underwater. Yeah. They could have used that to motivate her.
Yeah.
I mean,
because that's true. She didn't have any interest in
in the
recreating
mantle.
the heart-shaped herb for herself and becoming the new Black Panther.
That's what bothered me.
She became the new Black Panther, or took on that power because she wanted revenge for her mother dying. So she essentially was now Killmonger, right? She wanted the power for revenge, and then she had to pull herself back from that to become the real Black Panther.
Yeah, that conversation when she went to the plane and Killmonger was there, and what she said, that kind of me personally, lad, that stuck with me because when I lost my mom, and I'm still like going through grief of dealing with that, and what she said, I want to burn everything.
And that harkens back to the conversation they had at the camp, at the fire, when she wanted her to burn their funeral clothes when Namor showed up, when she was like, I can't think about him too long, because if I think about him, I'm just gonna think about burning everything down.
Everything doesn't matter.
And when she started that, I finished that sentence in my head for her, because many of us have dealt, that is part of the grief process. Anger is always in there somewhere, and depending on who you are and what makes you, it easily can consume you. So I understood it. I absolutely understood it. Like, fuck this, like all the shit that they've been through, and to be taken away over, like, and not be able to save them. I absolutely got it. Was just like, I don't give a shit about anything. Fuck everybody.
Yeah, that hit me.
Yeah.
So it made sense that Killmonger is who she's seen, and and that's really, honestly, like, that's what she needed. And it's also it makes sense for the final act of the fight with Namor, because Namor was such a superior fighter. You needed his weakness, and you needed her to be basically bloodlusted. You know what I mean? You needed her in absolute rage mode. Otherwise, a regular Shuri just trying to fight him to protect herself would have got her ass kicked.
I just feel like it took that extreme for her to even, like, okay, you're dealing with the mantle of
hang with him.
When you're dealing with the mantle of the Black Panther, like, that's one of the most important charges of the whole country. So she doesn't want to deal with it until the third act, until her mom has to die. It's like that's the last stroke.
I mean, that's what she was telling you, bro, because it's like she's the queen now, right? But it wasn't losing her people that bothered her. It was like,
that's what I'm saying. Half your country was underwater, and that didn't bother you.
T'Challa was worried about his people more than anything. Shuri was more selfish.
You got to remember, she wasn't the leader in the beginning of the movie. She didn't have that responsibility.
No, I know that. I'm just saying
a good thing.
It took all that for her to be
an interesting aspect to the story, because it's not just like she's this perfect person who does everything right. No, she's a normal person who was just fucking pissed off. We're like,
you got to remember that she had all the angst, she had all the anger and the emotion over loss. But she didn't have to also be the leader, because her mother was that. It was, and so it wasn't like you also have to be the Black Panther. It wasn't until
she had to grow up.
Got later into the movie where now she has to step up to be the leader. She has to step up to be the queen, to be the Black Panther. That's when she, that made sense for her. But she didn't have interest in that because it wasn't required of her earlier on. And Lael, I just want to, so, everybody's having a really good discussion in the chat. Everybody's keeping it respectful. So that's great. I did just want to address a couple comments from Thomas Brown, who just said that he felt like Shuri's journey in the last act was far too similar to T'Challa's in Civil War, and then said it was kind of recycled storytelling. I get your perspective on that. I don't so much think it was recycled storytelling as I think it was mirroring her journey with it, because he lost his father, right? And now she's dealing with losing her mother and really essentially losing her entire family over the last several years.
Same way, explosion.
Right, and it's about how they both deal very differently with their anger, because T'Challa wanted to get revenge for what happened to his father, yes, but he was also dealing with it through the lens of, now I have to step up and be that leader. Shuri was doing that. She wasn't stepping up to be that. She wasn't next in line in a sense to like be that leader until her mother dies, and then she's got to then be thrust into that, and it's mirroring how they go that route. And and what the journey is for them both to ascend to that position of Black Panther. So I don't think it was recycled storytelling. I think it was trying to mirror the journey, so we get a sense of Shuri rising into this role to equal what, you know, T'Challa was.
Real quick,
a mirror journey is the same thing as recycled, though, I think.
With intent, it's very different.
It's different. Here's the reason why I say that, because what people actually have to understand is that what we saw in Civil War, mind you, what we saw in Civil War, he hadn't himself directly become the king yet. He didn't, because we didn't see him become the king until his own standalone film. So again, the heart-shaped herb was basically taken. He became the Black Panther, but he had actually not gone through the trials at that point. It wasn't until later. So what we actually did see in, you know, Civil War was an act of revenge, even though it was basically, and you can't say that. I don't think it was recycled, because it was two totally different lessons learned at that time. Two totally different lessons learned that had to be learned. With her, she wasn't ready, and she didn't feel as though she wanted to be the Panther. She had completely dismissed it because of her anger, her frustration. Again, you have to understand two totally different journeys when it comes to that. I understand the concept. I understand what you're saying, but it was two totally different scenarios.
But it's the most important charge of the whole country is the title of Black Panther, whether it be the Jabari who get the mantle, or I forget the other tribes, but it's like nobody's trying to take the place. He was only king for 3 years, technically. But you know what I'm saying? I mean, that's the shortest reign probably of all in Wakanda. Yeah, that was my whole issue with you know. And I know everybody, if you say the word recast, oh my God, I'm gonna get crucified. But it's like, come on, like I understand Chadwick's weight on this film and on this character. I do. I'm so glad that we were blessed to have the first movie. I still love it to this day. And still, to me, the first one's better than this one. That's just my opinion. It's unpopular, but whatever. But the thing is, it's like they could have wrote this movie so many different ways. He could have went to space, and you know, he got the Galactic Kingdom of Wakanda. That's in the comics. He could have fought with Namor and been captured. Anything they could have wrote different off. And I understand the respect factor of having a funeral scene and respecting Chadwick as the person that he was. But it's like the first Black superhero to break the bank at the box office, the first one ever, and his reign is only 3 years because of the fact that, you know, God bless his soul, but Chadwick is gone. There's so many good actors that could have filled that spot, bro. And
here's the thing:
they took the time off to make the movie, but he took the time off to mourn, and I respect that. But it's just, I don't know.
It's different, bro, because you have to understand. But again, you're speaking from what you want and what you wanted to see. A lot of these people are basically speaking from their own perspective of what they want.
I want to say something. Go ahead. Again, this is like exactly. I think you know, art is subjective, and we can look at this in terms of how we would go into a film or a story, and we would be good with it. If they would have recast, who is what's the dude's name? Idris that plays
Idris Elba.
No, not Elba, the Snowfall guy.
Oh yeah, I know you're talking about. I know you're talking about. Yeah,
his last name is Idris. Like, yeah, if anybody could,
bro,
if anybody could jump in and play T'Challa, that dude, I think he could have killed it. But I tell you what, though, if they would have recast even with an actor that caliber, no matter what people would have thought about him killing it, there would have still been so much backlash.
Yep.
Because we all know, I mean, here we are talking for hours about whether we like. You damned if you don't, damned if you do with these movies.
We've been having that same conversation for 2 years, Chris, where we've been saying, like, look, we at the time we wanted them to recast because we thought that was the right move. But at the same time, we knew that if they did, you would have had a whole other group of people that would have been pissed off.
Yeah. Yep.
You know, so you weren't going to please everybody. Like,
no,
that was just the way.
And we've all said that. We've all said that, and we all understand that. But here's my thing, right? Batman has been 20 Batmans. There's been what 9, 10 Supermen. There's been 3 Wonder Woman. There's been 2 Flashes. All these people have been recasted.
Different
right?
universe, though. That's that.
No,
argument.
I'm just saying.
Except for technically Val Kilmer and Nipple Batman.
Yeah. Facts. So facts. So it's like I know it's the DC side of the house, but people bitched about that. Like, oh, Ben Affleck's gonna be terrible Batman. This motherfucker is the best Batman to ever be on screen. I don't give a shit who says what. Oh, Henry Cavill's gonna be Superman. Oh my god. When he was gone, people were crying for him like me. You know what I'm saying? And the thing with Rhodey, oh my god, he's playing Rhodey. He's too short. Now that everybody's on Don Cheadle like he's the best thing after Robert Downey. So it can happen. They'll bitch in the beginning, but at least take the chance.
It will.
You know what I'm saying?
But this is what I'm saying,
now
bro.
They can, though.
They can, and it will happen. It just didn't happen in this film because it wasn't supposed to. From our perspective, and people who are looking at it from this particular side of it, we're only looking at it from our own personal perception, our own intent. In a sense, we're selfish. Where all of us are basically selfish to actually see that. Yes, you want to actually have that character, but I think that they did, and regardless what everybody says, and I know there's been people talking about it. In my opinion, this was the perfect way, and they ended it the perfect way, and they cleaned the slate because now we get a totally different story with T'Challa. We get a chance to see that story that we possibly wanted to see. So again,
Jason,
when people are basically saying recast, he is going to be recast because the door is open. It's just that you have to be patient and let this play out exactly the way it was supposed to. In my
Jason, either they're going to use that kid or they're going to recast, and now we're going to have a new T'Challa with a clean slate that they can do the Storm story without the Nakia baggage.
Exactly.
Right, because they have to do that, bro. Because that's to have and like I said, he was to reign for only 3 years because the blip happened. He was gone for 5. You feel
Don't worry,
me?
Kang is gonna age up his son. We'll be good.
Right. But that's like, and then when his son comes of age, and he goes to Wakanda, and he's gonna try to be the king. Who's this bastard? Where does bastard come from? He didn't marry the kid. That's another problem. You feel me? So it's like
that's when they get in their Game of Thrones shit. We'll be all right.
Thank you.
I understand what Jason is saying in terms of this because look, I'm of the mind. I really enjoyed this movie, and I think there were some phenomenal things accomplished with this movie. I think for what Chadwick represented, and for what Ryan Coogler and the cast and crew of this film set out to do, they nailed that. They did exactly what they set out to do, and I think they made a great film. From a storytelling perspective for the MCU at large, I think recasting T'Challa would have been the stronger way to go on that front. Okay, that's not to discount the amazing accomplishment of this film or to say that this film isn't good, because I really enjoyed it. I think from a larger storytelling perspective in the MCU, I think it would have been better for them to recast T'Challa. And this is why. I get that you say that the door is open for recasting and, and stuff like that. My kind of thing with when you look at it through the lens of the larger MCU is that, one, his kid is like 7 years old.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You're not just going to age him up all of a sudden in time for Secret Wars,
right.
Coming up. And so he's not young enough. He's not old enough to be in the immediate future of the MCU in the way that I would want T'Challa to be in. And I don't just want an alternate universe version of T'Challa to just jump into Secret Wars or something, right? You know what I mean? Like I want one that's established, even if it's a different actor playing the one that we have that history with here, because, and this is a problem that I see with the MCU right now. We had this core group. We had Steve Rogers. We had Tony Stark, right? we had Thor, we had these heavy hitters that were the leaders of the MCU. Okay, they were the rocks that you look to, right? Even Banner and Hulk when during the Avengers and stuff, and before Professor Hulk and all that, right?
But it's trash.
And now
yeah.
we don't have Steve Rogers anymore. We don't have Tony Stark anymore. They've decimated Thor and Hulk, so we don't have them as leaders in the MCU anymore. I absolutely love Anthony Mackie as Sam Wilson and Sam Wilson as Captain America, and he absolutely can be that leader figure in the MCU. The problem is we haven't seen him since the Falcon and Winter Soldier, so they haven't used him in that role enough yet. Going into Secret Wars, I want a leader, right? And T'Challa was, to me, that guy that could have filled that role, going in and taking charge
perfectly
in that movie, in the Kang Dynasty and in Secret Wars. And to me, with losing those heavy hitters like Steve Rogers and Tony Stark and not having established Sam Wilson enough the way I think they should have by this point, T'Challa not having this MCU version of T'Challa to take on that role, that I feel like is a difficult part for me personally. And I think that I think that recasting T'Challa in that role, and again, I love Shuri in the books. She takes on the mantle, absolutely.
Yeah, she does, yeah.
But I also think that if they had gone with like Okoye or Nakia as the new Black Panther, I think because of their experience, one of them could have maybe taken on that leadership role in those future Avengers films a little bit better than Shuri, just in the sense that, and again, look, I like Shuri, but to me, it's like, remember that T'Challa had to take the powers away and fight M'Baku, who I think was criminally underused in this movie. I think Winston Duke is such a great actor. He should have been used a lot more in this movie. But he had to beat M'Baku one-on-one, no powers, okay? And the truth of the matter is, Shuri would not have been able to do that.
Nah, in
this movie, Shuri would not have been able to do that. And I also think it was kind of weird that M'Baku didn't recognize that and say, look, I love you, but like
we gotta fight.
You're not the one to take on this mantle. It should be me, right? So to me, that's just the kind of like, she took the heart-shaped herb and she got the power of Black Panther, and then all of a sudden she also had all the skill, all the fighting technique and stuff, which I'm like, I would have preferred if they had showed her maybe as part of dealing with her anger and her aggression, maybe some flashbacks of her maybe
working
she
out.
spent that year training with Okoye and the Dora Milaje, and we just didn't see that, and that explains where she could have the technique. Now again, it's not fair to just put that on her, because we also never saw Peter Parker learn how to fight, right? I'm not saying that this is a fault exclusive to Shuri or this movie, because they've done that in other things before. I just think they had an opportunity to show her train and really take on the skill and the fighting prowess that would then translate into her being the Black Panther, and they didn't actually flesh that part out in this movie.
I think the professor has his hand up.
He got his hands up.
I got it. I just because the thing is, I get everybody's point. I understand it, but I horribly disagree on so many different levels. One, to say that, Okoye picks up the mantle. She already demonstrated in the first film that she doesn't want it. Her loyalty is to the king. Her loyalty is to the throne. She didn't want to pick up that role. Again, it's what we want. It's not the way. Wait a minute. It's not what we want. It's what the writers displayed based on the source material, based on what was already presented from the first film. Nakia didn't want that role because she is a spy. And she said that I am a spy. I don't do those things. That's not where I am. So for her to basically pick it up, no, it doesn't necessarily make sense for her to do so. This was Shuri's journey, number one. Number two, to say that she didn't have skill, I think we are also forgetting the simple fact that regardless of what we feel, we did see her on that battlefield in Endgame. She was there. She showed up on that battlefield, and she did fight.
Yes.
And there were scenes behind where we didn't actually see the type of jargon. We didn't see any type of work, but she was fighting. We saw it in the back end. She was fighting, and she was holding her own. So yes,
kicked her ass.
she basically
was fighting. Yes,
bro,
but she was using her gauntlet.
Using
I'm
the
just
gauntlet.
saying the
Let me
hand-to-hand
finish.
combat.
Let me finish.
Killed her with the
Let
gauntlet,
me
though.
finish. Let me finish here because I'm going somewhere. You don't know if it's not displayed on screen because you didn't see it. None of us have. We didn't see it. So we're only going off of our own selfish intent. I'm sorry, because that's exactly what it is.
That's
to
not
say to that
selfish
person,
at all.
just
That's not
let
selfish. That's not
me
selfish.
finish because I did let y'all talk. Now it is my time. So basically what I am saying right now for me, and I'm sorry that I got to go on this tangent, but the thing is you're taking it away from this character. Again, the source material was there. Number one, just follow the path, follow the narrative. Again, she picked up the mantle on the third act. That doesn't necessarily mean that she's going to hold on to it. And I think that basically them presenting this actor, this young actor, as T'Challa, again, as much as we say aging him too quickly, is it going to make sense? Do y'all understand when we're actually going to get Secret Wars? When that movie is going to drop? It's not dropping next year. Damn near not dropping the year after, to be quite honest. It's going to take a few years to get to that particular point in which we still have time variance. We still have Kane to get through. There's so many different things that are going to actually occur going forward that are going to make sense. It's a clean slate. The thing is, don't take it away from Shuri's journey. Plain and simple. This was her journey, things that she basically needed to learn. Again, when that hatred was there, who she saw in representation of that hatred was Killmonger. So yes, she summoned him. That's just basically the way it was. So regardless, to say that, okay, again, also keep in mind that again, when she basically made or shaped that heart-shaped urn, what also did happen? What did she ask? What happened? What did she ask for at that point? Also, she asked for T'Challa's DNA for a particular reason. There was for a reason that she did ask for that DNA. There were so many things that were played into that factor that made perfectly good sense. Now, again, everybody has their own opinion, and I agree and I understand that and I respect it, even though I horribly disagree. Again, both actors both said, and both characters, Nakia and Okoye, stressed that they did not want to pick it up. So again, we're saying what we wanted to see, but that's not the way those characters were written in this film. So of course, we didn't get that. So we have to understand where it's going. Because the thing is, it would have completely, if they did give it to those characters, in my opinion, it would have completely contradicted everything that we got before then. So they're following the actual narrative, but at the same time, again, Shuri was the Black Panther in the books. Yes, and the source material was there. Who says that going? And they said again, at the end of this film, they said the Black Panther didn't return or will return. It didn't say Shuri as the Black Panther will return. It said the Black Panther will return. So who knows what iteration of that character we're going to actually see. Again, we have to be patient. This film was all about loss, but it was all about a journey that needed to be taken. And this was all about healing. The reason why we didn't see her in the very beginning as a Black Panther, because she didn't want it. And that's clearly displayed. I don't think right now she still wants it. I really don't. I think that basically she did what she had to do because it was needed for that time. And that's it.
That's good. I'm gonna push back on one thing you said though, because you said that it was that what I was mentioning before, that comes out of a place of selfishness. And that I will say you're 1000% wrong. Does not come out of a place of selfishness. I specifically said that I'm fine with her having the skill.
You did say I want though, right?
I said yes, from a filmmaking standpoint, if you
from
a filmmaking standpoint, just like Vinny said, and we agreed that it was a deficiency in the movie, the fact that the sonic weapons and how that worked was not explained, right? Same thing. It's not selfish to want an explanation to that within the storytelling of a film. Same thing. I didn't say I don't believe Shuri could do that. I'm saying, to me, a better storytelling method would have been to show some scenes with her training during that year of loss, so we see that as part of dealing with her grief and her anger, she was putting that into training and into taking that out and trying to exercise those demons. I think a better storytelling mechanism would have been to do that and cut out, to be perfectly honest, the Everett Ross and Valentina stuff. That 15-20 minutes I thought didn't really add anything to the film. Take that out, in my opinion. Give us more of her journey, which I'm fine with. Shuri's journey. Give us more of that, and that fleshes out the story better. That's not selfish. That is a valid criticism of the way they told a specific part of the story.
There was something to, as much, and I did love Shuri's journey in this. I did love her becoming Black Panther, and the way they did it. If that's how they were going to do it, it was cool. I do feel like there is something to be said for her, training. It's in the comics, it's obviously right there, but in the film, she fought in the other war, but it was mostly like shooting and she did a lot of moves in this that I'm not sure it's ever really explained that the herb would give you those skills, and as opposed to strength. I kind of looked at that as a suspension of disbelief. I don't know that what T'Challa's DNA would help with that. Like if I got Bruce Lee's DNA, that wouldn't make me a better fighter. I still have to train. I still have to train. That's a skill, not DNA. I think what helped Shuri more than anything was just like rage. There's skills involved in what she did that I just took as I took it with a grain of salt, because they weren't going to just have her just throwing punches and kicks. They wanted to have her doing moves too. But at the same time, though, that was a much toned down Black Panther fight than that CGI sloppiness that we seen in the train scene at the end of the first film. It was much more raw and grimy and visceral than we got to see, and that is part of why that fight was so good, because while she was doing some shit that it didn't really would make sense that she could do, it wasn't over the top. She wasn't doing really crazy Spider-Man shit like Black Panther is able to do. It was much more toned down, and it made for a much better fight than the Killmonger fight.
I personally, I honestly don't think we're going to see Shuri as Black
if you
Panther.
look at the battlefield scene from the first
hold
movie,
on. Let Chris finish real quick. Let Chris finish.
He's right.
What do you think, Chris?
I just say I don't think we're going to see Shuri as Black Panther again.
I agree. I think that they might.
That's entirely possible. Yeah.
I think she might have just done this to like save the, to get revenge, save it, and like look at the timeline. Look at the timeline. Like they set up this kid. He's 7 now. Like Leo just said, by the time we get through Kang and Secret, all that, by the time we get around to a Black Panther,
he'll be 17.
This kid is going to be of age to throw him in the mantle. So this is why I am completely fine with the film, because everybody got what they wanted. It just the recast T'Challa fans just had to wait a film. That's it.
To think about what Brendan was saying.
Recast T'Challa the whole time, and I gotta say, as much as I would have loved to see a Black Panther through the whole film, it would have, obviously it was missing, but it would have been like an elephant in the room the whole fucking time, and this got you past. It's like this is going to be uncomfortable, but get past this film, and now we can go forward. And that's what this film did. It gave us a beautiful film that we have to get through and have an emotional, masterpiece that's something totally different than an action film. And then we go forward with his son.
Yeah.
Well, what Brendan was saying, earlier about missing the training montage, to see her training would have, instead of having, like he was saying, the Ross and the whole and his ex-wife bullshit in the movie, which was a filler. We didn't need that. She's going to be Black Panther. Let her see the training, because the DNA don't just give you all T'Challa skills. Like, okay, we saw her in the first movie. She was on the battlefield. She was shooting. Killmonger got up to her and kicked her ass. He almost killed her. The thing about training for war and stuff like that, you get training too on how to deal with stuff without your weapon. I've been to war 3 times, and I know how to handle myself without my weapon. You know what I'm saying? You could be the best fucking rifleman in the world, but if you run out of bullets and get your ass kicked and can't defend yourself, then what good are you? So the show, we missed that whole training montage. We should have had something with her. I totally agree with Brendan on that one. Like that shit is missing.
And to
You know what I'm
clarify,
saying?
my point about wanting to see her like training and developing some of the skills that then would have combined with the power from the heart-shaped herb.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that because I wanted to justify her presence as the Black Panther in the MCU
No,
moving
not at
forward.
all.
I'm saying because I thought that would have made this individual film, even if she doesn't carry on the mantle of Black Panther, I think it would have made this individual film better. Because one, like I said, I know some people are saying it plants the seed, like, you know, Valentina and Everett Ross and stuff moving forward.
Yeah.
I don't think it really did anything groundbreaking that we
At
really
all.
needed. I don't think it planted a real seed. It's like her as the head of the CIA. Like, okay, whatever. I don't think that really is anything that you couldn't have easily established later on in the MCU, and I don't think it added anything to this film. So you take them out and you give Shuri more time so that her journey feels more complete. And I'm 100% on board with that. I'm not knocking Shuri. I'm saying I don't think that I'm saying I think that would have been a better way to do it. And I'm also saying that this is not a problem that is exclusive to this film or to Shuri as a character. Because like I said, we never saw Peter Parker learn how to fight.
No,
right? We never saw a lot of these characters learn how to fight. They got their powers and then just kind of went off. So I agree that, it's not exclusive to her, and I'm not knocking her for it. I'm saying I think this would have been a better film. That doesn't mean it's not a good film, because it is. But I think it would have been better from a storytelling perspective if we got more of her journey through that year and her developing, so that when she took up the mantle later on, she was on, like, it felt more organic. Same thing. Whereas, like, you're saying that like Nakia and Okoye both said that they didn't want the mantle. I mean, comic books and movies are full of characters who don't want to be a hero. And then not that She-Hulk is a good example, but like Jen Walters didn't want it. And then, later on takes it. So to say that it wouldn't have made any sense for either one of them to take on the mantle, I disagree with that, because a lot of times Shuri didn't want to, and then she took it on at the end and still didn't want it for the reasons that, superheroes typically want it for. So I think either one of them would have made good choices. I'm not saying that means Shuri makes a bad one. I'm just saying the way they did it, I would have liked them to spend a little bit more time with her development.
Yeah.
And I think it would have sold it really well. And I'm already sold on her. I just think it would have sold it better to wider audiences.
It's like the Rocky movie concept. He didn't just start off as champion. He got his ass kicked a lot to learn how to fight, to learn how to be the champ. So that's the same thing. Like, we're missing that small piece. It didn't take nothing away from her character, nothing away from the movie. It's just that would have been a good evolution to see her go from point A to point B. It's like you went from A to B, took a shortcut to get to B. So it's
take the Valentina Everett Ross stuff out.
You don't need
give us a little bit more of Shuri's journey, and I think it makes a stronger film. I'm not just trying to get rid of her. I'm saying give me more of her.
You don't need that.
Will it be safe to say, if I'm going to go back in time a little bit, with the original Hudlin line of the Black Panther, at some point, Shuri secretly fought for the mantle. If you can recall that, she secretly fought for the mantle.
Well, it happened in the comics a few times,
right, in the comics. So all of us here are comic readers. Me personally, thinking about her having a skill set of actually doing it, the skill set will be there. Because with any royal family, they get put through a trial.
They do.
Any royal family. So that part right there, that didn't bother me. Because I'm like, okay, I could go back to where she secretly fought for the mantle and was kicking ass doing that.
That would make sense, though.
That would have she had to have some form of training. I would never believe for her to be walking around that I'm just a princess and this is what I'm. No, she's in a warrior culture. She's in a warrior society.
If they had established that in previous movies, I'm 100% on board with exactly what they're saying.
But they didn't. In that culture like that, that's to be expected. That's to be expected. For King,
especially if you're in a royal house.
Exactly. That's to be expected.
Right.
For them to be trained to be warriors, men, or especially when you have the Dora Milaje.
That's my point.
That
She's
are,
not just
that
a
are
fucking
women.
scientist. She's not just a scientist.
She's
She
not
had
just
some
that.
form of
So let's
training.
get that out of
She's
my
had
head.
some
Get out
type
of
of
that.
form of training. She's basically been active. Again, she's the one who built the fucking suits. So of course she has to know how they react. She has to had some type of training to defend herself. No, and there's no doubt in my mind that T'Challa himself probably taught her how to defend himself
Fought
and
with
taught
her.
certain things and fought with her a couple of times. Just because it's not displayed on screen, again, we only had
Don't
like
mean it
2 and
didn't happen.
whatever hours, doesn't mean that it did not happen. That's
I'm
my
not.
But they
point.
I'm
could. The
saying,
thing is,
but
they
you
could
in
have
visual
showed it.
storytelling, you have to show certain things, and what we have seen has been contrary to that. And you look at Infinity War,
Yes.
right? You look
Yes.
at Infinity War when who was it? Corvus Glaive, I think. Like when he came in, all right, and Shuri was in there. She got swatted aside in 2 seconds, right?
Just
She
got
did
smacked.
not put up any fight. She's
Exactly.
had literally no other fight scenes other than she shows up next to T'Challa in Endgame. She uses the gauntlets. Like Vinny said, there was no hand-to-hand combat shown from her. It was strictly shooting. I'm not knocking this character. You got to get over this. Like, I'm not shitting on Shuri. I'm saying from a storytelling perspective, oftentimes it is show, don't tell. It is show this, don't just verbally tell me. And they have not shown anything of her combat experience. So you can ask audiences to just assume that because she comes from Wakanda, that she's been given battle training. But that has not been established. And it's not selfish to ask for more of that to be shown in film form.
So, okay, let me ask a question. So this is completely off a little bit. This is different. Let's switch sides a bit. And let's talk about the beast who is Namor. Okay?
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about that real quick.
Right,
but what I want to say, because I do want to go to that, but my point is, okay, Namora, we never saw her fight. We didn't see her receive any type of training, brand new characters. But is it safe to say that she's received some type of training, correct?
You didn't see her fight on the bridge?
There's a big difference.
No. We didn't see. My point is, yes, we saw her fight on the bridge in this film. This as well as we saw Shuri fight in this film. But we didn't see any previous training with Namora, correct?
Because you're overlooking a big difference between these
characters.
You're overlooking a big difference between these characters.
I don't think I
am. Namor, Namora, all of them, they were introduced as warriors from the
gate. From the gate.
Was introduced as a 16-year-old scientist.
You're making that assumption, though. That's what I'm saying. It is assumption that you're basically making.
That's what it was.
It's an assumption, but you can't basically say that she was not. You didn't. My point is, you didn't see any type of formal training. She was a brain, but you're assuming that she doesn't have another occupation. There's a lot that we know about Namora.
So you're going to put her on the front line without knowing how to fight?
This is my point.
But you're going to put her on the front line without knowing how to fight?
You're right. You're
saying that we're assuming. No.
You're right.
You're
right.
But
you're right.
Because that's the point.
Can I pose
without knowing how to fight?
Chris, go ahead, Chris.
Can I pose a bridge between? I love this because see, and this is why
I don't understand
love hearing different perspectives, because I'm sitting here like nodding my head to everyone here, like, okay, I'm picking a little about here, picking a little about here, and there's some sense that make there's some points that make sense on both sides, but I think we really can find some middle ground here, because I think, okay, we look at what you're saying, Brandon, about how they could have utilized time.
Yes.
Sure. We could look at films and we could pick things apart and say they could have utilized this time differently. I think there's a valid explanation there too to understand why Shuri can do what she does. And let me pose this kind of context. Shuri, as a young girl, grows up in an environment of royalty where they are warriors and their actual army are female warriors. So I know we don't want to always assume, but we can assume. And then we go and I hear it. So Brendan, you actually make a good point too about she wasn't introduced like that. So I understand those contracts. But if somebody say me, right. I'm a little dude. Like I'm skinny. I'm not in the gym, getting swole. But say I go and I've taken karate classes like my whole life or something. So maybe I got some moves or something, right? If who came in? If alien dude in Infinity War came in on me and I know a little bit of karate, right? Like I'm still getting like swatted to the side like crazy. But if I take my karate and I take the heart-shaped herb, I'm gonna hold my own. So there's that contrast as well. So but I will say this too. I think there is more validity in saying, like, we can look at Shuri and her training and doing what she did to Black Panther, and we do have substance to follow the breadcrumbs, even though maybe they could have shown more. We do, but I think a more big question mark is why did some of the I forget the Atlanteans, I forget the name in the film. Why were some of them able to heal, and why weren't some not, right? So there's an even more bigger question mark. But I just want to say that I think there are valid points on both sides here, and we could kind of find this middle ground of saying, and this is where we do get kind of protective of this art and entertainment that we love so much. But I do think you guys both are. I think there's some valid points on both sides.
I think one thing we can
I
all agree
just
on.
say?
Well, I just want to say real quick. There's one thing
Go
we all
ahead.
can agree on is just that it's about time. It's almost like going on 2.5 hours, and we finally got Booty Bots in the chat. So let's give it up for Booty Bots in the chat.
Booty Boss. Hey,
Yeah, Booty Bots in the chat.
Bruh, I gotta say this one thing, right? You don't put a soldier on the front line without the proper training. That's just he's gonna die. You don't put nobody out there without the proper training.
Bro, I feel you.
Okay?
I feel you on that.
So
Like,
I don't understand
dude,
that's not taken away from the character.
Bro, I see that you're airborne. I was a Marine 30 years ago.
So hoorah, you already know what time it is.
I know. I get what you.
You know how we train.
I get what you're saying.
So it's like I don't understand that. You know what I mean? Like Namora was from the gate when we got introduced to Namora, we already knew. Oh, she can kick somebody's ass, a couple of asses, because she was already set and fucking people up on the bridge.
She was established from the moment she set
from the
foot
jump.
on the film.
Look, they were clearly put in a difficult circumstances where they took Black Panther's embodiment and siphoned off some of the intelligence to Shuri for necessary plot advancement. They took some of that away from him. I was obviously a big critique from the film. We didn't see him be as intelligent as he was. And obviously, for whatever reasons, they also wanted to play up that and give little girls something to aspire to as far as you can be a scientist and intelligent too. So they obviously didn't have the time in the first film to show her utilizing combat training. If she had any, they didn't take the time to show it. Now that's not to say she didn't have it, but they did specifically had her shooting instead of doing hand to hand. Now this film obviously had to do so many things. There's so many things you just kind of have to take with a grain of salt, a suspension of disbelief, because one, it's a superhero film, and two, they were thrown a fucking Molotov and had to catch it and throw it back and figure out what to do.
Yeah.
So there was only so many fires that they could put out with this.
And Vinny, exactly what you just said. You've got to take certain things with a grain of salt and suspend disbelief.
Of course.
Absolutely, but it's also okay to acknowledge those specific things, to acknowledge the sonar weapon or the sonic weapon not really being explained, to acknowledge that, they're basically asking us to make an assumption rather than showing us certain things, right? And it's like we understand the circumstances that they were making this movie under, and so we're not saying that ruins the movie. We're saying, I'm not going to speak for anybody else. I know Jason has echoed some of my sentiments, but I'm saying I think that also, the movie could have been better with certain other storytelling elements used and taken out, like the Everett Ross stuff, right? So it's, yes, we take it with a grain of salt, but it's also okay to acknowledge what those grains of salt are.
And let's also be clear, she didn't beat Namor because of fighting prowess. She beat him because she figured out her fucking weakness and sapped him of oxygen before he even got a chance to fight. It's like putting, Batman and Red Sun Superman together. It's like all the training in the world when it hits to help Batman, it was because he was weakened. So, I mean, obviously she did some moves that maybe she probably might not have known how. Maybe she did. Either way, it was the tech that beat Namor, not any combat.
SpongeBob Squareballs made a good point.
Valid point.
That's reading his track. Made a good point.
Again, I have no problem with her having training. I wanted to see it. I don't understand why this is difficult for people to get. I don't have a problem with Shuri in the role of Black Panther. I don't have a problem with her being the lead in this movie. I'm saying I think it would have been stronger storytelling for her character if we saw some of the things that, quite frankly, I think you're asking us to make assumptions about that you wouldn't necessarily ask us to make assumptions about in other movies. You would want to see things explained a little bit more in other movies, but you're asking us to make assumptions in this movie that I don't think you would in others.
Moving on, because I think we spent way too much time on this. And again, everybody out there in the chat, we're going to agree to disagree. And that's okay. That's just the way it is. Again, part of what helped Shuri's beat Namor was the tech. Namor had beat her, but because she led the fight against him with tech, she had the advantage at the end to stand over him. Exactly. That was it. She didn't beat him by solid muscle because he would have ripped her in half. We know that. But she beat him by intelligence. Sure, intelligence would lend itself to what she took, which was the heart-shaped herb to kind of give her an extra boost. So I'm not taking away from the simple fact that I'm not taking the simple fact that, I'm not going to take away from the simple fact that the performance was phenomenal. Letitia Wright did a bang up job, and that's just the way we'll sit. Again, we all have our own opinions about it. Doesn't make it right or wrong, but we'll disagree and we'll understand that. Anyway, let's talk about really quick, because like I said, in the interest of time, there's a lot going on right now. We're going to talk about Namor real quick. Who in my opinion was definitely was the heart, and I mean not heart, but he was he led this movie, not only with brute strength, and they showed how much of a beast he was, but even in the storyline, which made sense. And I know basically there were a lot of people that were pushing back on the choice of him being or them actually being from Talokan, him basically being of Mayan descent. And again, I think it was a perfect choice, and they did exactly what I thought they should have actually done, which inclusion was definitely important, and I loved it. But again, he killed it in this role, and Namor was phenomenal from beginning to end. He was a beast, and I cannot wait to see more of this particular character. Chris, I'm gonna go to you first, and then Vinny, I'm gonna go to you.
Man, so first off, big shout out to Sarah Haley Finn and crew, the real MVPs. I mean, the casting in the MCU, they've taken risk after risk, bringing no-name people that don't. I mean, they just
you can't question them, bro. You can't question them.
Yeah, they haven't dropped the ball, man. So let me. I'm gonna come back to the actor, but I got to talk a little bit about the decision to make this a more deeper and richer cultural conflict than some, fake Atlantean comic book myth. The one thing that's made the MCU as amazing as it is how grounded it is in reality. And they've done that starting with Iron Man, and Captain America, obviously the best. I mean, those characters are already so very grounded. But once we got into Guardians of the Galaxy, they shocked us at how grounded that could even be with space and aliens, right? Then we got into Doctor Strange and how grounded that was with mysticism and witchcraft and all that stuff. They have continued to keep it grounded in such a way. And I'm sorry, like, no hate on DC. No hate on DC. I just saw, Black Adam. Love The Rock. Love everything he does. He could be in the worst movie ever, and I'm gonna laugh and I'm gonna be entertained. But while I enjoyed the movie as an entertaining movie, I can't take it seriously.
Yep.
Dudes flying around with capes, and it is what it is. Actually, I do got to give credit to freaking what's the Man of Steel? God,
Henry Cavill.
No, the director.
Zack Snyder.
Snyder, and say what you will about him, about trying to keep Superman grounded. No weird pun intended there. Anyways, but I think by bringing Namor and these people into that Mayan history and mythology,
that was dope.
So well with battling Wakanda. And I was looking at folks, like, there's a lot of even like minorities that are like, why does it have to be like, brown people or minority battling each other? I'm like, look, man, like, this is it actually, and this
reality.
Is my humble opinion. I know we're kind of going down. I mean, this could get controversial, but the one thing that I really loved about the first Black Panther is they brought in the disconnect that was caused by the West African slave trade, and about the lack of understanding of like why, again, and I say this as an outsider. No, my wife's Black, kids are mixed, but I can only speak as an outsider, and I understand that.
Yeah.
But Black people in America, and all they have is their Blackness.
Exactly.
I'm Sicilian and I'm Portuguese. I can sit here and I know my Portuguese grandparents and Sicilian grandparents came off the boats. I know my ethnicity and my culture and all. What do we have here? For Black folks, we're Black. We came from slaves. It's like, oh, you're African. Africa has 50 nations. It's not a country.
Yeah.
It's a continent with 50 nations.
It's a continent. Yeah.
West African, South African, East African, Ethiopian, Egyptian. You lose that. In the first Black Panther film brought like that disconnect. That's why you understand Killmonger and what
Killmonger's point of view,
right? So again, Ryan Coogler, as writing this film, taking raw, rich, like pulling from real history in oppression in these oppressed people and explaining, loss and disconnection of being a part of the bigger world, the pain, the anger, the guilt, all these things where, in understanding how the colonizers, as they say in the film, have really it pinned these oppressed peoples against each other so much to where that feud boils up even in their attempt to battle the real enemy, so to me made so much sense in this. But then going back to again, I'm so bad with names, but the actor here for Namor, like, again, Sarah Haley Finn and company killing it. This guy, again, every moment with him on screen, like,
it was perfect though.
Killed it, man. And look, we already talked about the returning cast and what they had to deal with that raw emotion, so much so that they weren't acting. For him as a newcomer to come into a new role with that cast and like bring emotion that was right there with them, amazing.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I definitely agree. And the thing is, it was it to me, like everybody, sometimes they'll say it was a risk. I think they did exactly what they wanted to do, and it made perfectly good sense. Number one, you're separating, two particular characters with similarities, him being Namor, Aquaman, which, I think this was dealing more in realism than anything, and it made much more sense to me. And I think how they explained it, people need to understand that smallpox was definitely a real thing. It was a real thing. It was a real thing. And it did basically, it did infiltrate like it did. And that was crazy that they brought it in the way they did in this particular film, and I loved it. But it spoke volumes and their choice to really tackle that and give us a bit of that history made sense. Vinny, your thoughts on this again, Namor, bro. And it was just unbelievable basically to see, you know what I mean? When I see him, number one, to see Namor in Wakanda in those aerial scenes recreated
that stuff in the comics,
straight from the books was phenomenal. And I loved it. Your take, bro.
Well, you know how much I love Namor. You and I have talked about wanting to see Namor on screen for just about as long as we've known each other. And Namor is, you know, from when I was a kid, I was always one of my faves. But, you know, we always knew that it'd be issues with, you know, the rights with Universal. So it's something I never really even let myself dream about too much because I figured it'd be a while. So seeing that they were going to use Namor for this, obviously, without getting into it at all, it was a little bit of a like bittersweet because we weren't going to be seeing, you know, T'Challa versus Namor, which is like one of the biggest rivalries in comics the past decade or so. But so what I wanted to see was, okay, well, how does he fit in here? Because hopefully going into it, I'm thinking hopefully they don't kill him off, and then whatever they do with T'Challa going forward, then it'll just mean so much more when T'Challa fights him now because it'll already be established and you won't have to tell that originally. You could just have them their story be about, you know, them. And we get to see them kind of differentiate themselves from, you know, Aquaman. And I like that we're not, you know, the general public is very fickle. Like I think sometimes they overthink what the casual fan cares about, but at the same time, they know that fans like us are going to pick it apart. And if they just had this be, you know, typical Namor and worried about, you know, trash in the ocean or just human issues or, you know, just it might have been just like, oh God, here we go again. Instead, they tweaked it. They made it. They tweaked it. They made it. You know, they made it with the, you know, Mayan civilization ties and added in basically, you know, slavery and genocide, and you have depth to the relationship between Atlantis or Talokan and Wakanda now that there wouldn't have been before, in that they have a commonality of being people of color dealing with issues of the outside world, you know, and how they have to interact with them. And it added so much weight to the story that, let's be completely honest, there are stories in comics that we have established and are like crucial and like sacred, and then there's stories that, all right, if they tweak that, it's not that big a deal. And I feel like Namor's background, the way they tweaked it, as long as it made sense, it worked. This actor, though, I am so happy for him. Like watching him showing his mom him in the trailer, like seeing his mural up in cities is just, you could tell like his life has changed. I mean, I know he's been in other things, but this is different. Like this is fucking huge. And his presence on screen, I mean, like I said earlier, I feel like he stole the movie in many different ways. Like he's attacking Wakanda, and I mean, I have Black Panther and, you know, maybe my top 3, depending on my mood, top 2, 1, maybe depending on the day. And he's kicking Wakanda's ass, and I'm like, go Namor. Who said that? Yeah, like I'm fucking, you know, you're rooting for this dude because his story is so compelling, and like they do a great job of telling the story from both of their points of view. Like it's excellent storytelling because he's doing horrible things. He's saying, yo, if you don't help me, you know, kill everyone in the world, I'm gonna kill you and your mom. Yet he says it in a charming ass way that's like, to him, whatever it takes, it's y'all or me. So it's gonna, I'm not going nowhere. So it's got to be you. You understand that because this isn't fairy tale land. That's how the world works. Sometimes you have to get your hands dirty, and sometimes you have to do horrible things for peace. Peace isn't free. And I think that's a big part of his message and what he has going on. And he would do anything, kill anybody to protect his people. And that's not something that he just did overnight. Like, he's been doing it for thousands of years in private, and he doesn't want that to change. So the world finding out that they got vibranium too means everybody got to die. That is so fucking, it makes so much sense. Every time he's on screen, the way they did his powers was incredible. The way they name dropped the Hulk to let the viewers know instantly how serious he is without going out of their way to show it. Like, they didn't have to, like, just that quickly they worked their way around showing, you know, skipping him doing all these crazy feats because they just put that out there. And then, of course, for Marvel fans, him saying that he's a mutant is huge. It's huge because it sets up so much, and it's just an incredible, like, that they added that in instead of making it like a mystery until we see him again or whatever. And then one of the craziest things, they kept the wings. And as a comic
I did not see that coming.
As a comic book fan, man, at Brandon, Leo, Chris, guys, Jason, y'all all know, man, we have so many things in comics that when we see they're doing a movie, we're like, all right, how are they going to nerf this? How are they going to change this? Because when you see that they're going to do Galactus in the movie, we're like, they ain't going to have the balls to do it. And sure enough, they turn into a fucking cloud because they know the average person will think it looks stupid. So they change it so that they don't have to explain it. And wings on your ankles making you fly is kind of fucking stupid, but we love it. And that's what we grew up with. And it's who we are as comic book fans. We let shit like that slide because it's comic books. If it's fucking cool. And so what? Who the fuck cares? They're superheroes. If there's weird shit, go with it. He's a fucking mutant. They have weird shit. So when they said he was going to be in this, I'm like, they ain't going to do the wings. And they did fucking wings. It was crazy. And they didn't just like do the wings and just like not showing you. Yo, they put the camera right on them Jones and was
on
like,
the feathers,
look, he's got his wings. So what? Like, they're not, and that's one of the things
that
had
Shuri like break one of them too.
Yeah,
she ripped one off his ankle. I'm like, God damn.
That's one of the things that I love so much about this universe is that Feige and crew, they're not embarrassed that they make superhero movies for a living. And Namor is a perfect embodiment of having the balls to put as much as you can as like respectably as possible from what we read on a page and love on the screen and explain it to everybody in a way that lets them join our party. And Namor is a perfect example of how that can be such a beautiful thing because that's a unique niche type character and they did it anyways. I fucking loved Namor in this movie so much. And the whole way through, I'm just like rooting for this dude because his part in this movie was so complex, and it was anti-hero, it was anti-villain. It was so ranged, and it wasn't black and white at all. It was just everything about Namor in this film was just chef's kiss. It was incredible.
I think we're going to see him soon too, man. We're going to see him sooner.
I can't wait to see him again. I can't wait to see more and more and more of him. Everything like with the final fight, like him yielding, that sets up the drama with the Tuma. That sets up him, and it still left him like somewhat of a villain. Like he's just using. He basically lied to Shuri.
He lied to her.
The second he gets a chance, he's gonna stab her in the back.
He didn't yield out of fear for his life. He yelled. He yielded because it was a strategic move, which he then explained later on.
And he got to find out the only thing that they could do to stop him is, take away what? All right, he's gonna figure out a way around that, and then next time it'll be a different story.
Yeah, definitely. And I liked about it when we talk about the use of the wings, because when we saw the trailer, like, people who saw it the first time, it was like, okay, that shit, that Tinkerbell shit, it looks weird. Like how they're gonna actually do that. I just hope they don't do it that fucking way. I was like, it just has to make sense. But when you see it and you hear it, it's the sound effects. It's basically
it
like
wasn't just straight up flying. It was like he was running on air.
Yo, he was running. He was sprinting
when he was running and hopping from ship to ship. I was like, God damn, this is gonna fuck them up.
In the comics, I've always in the comic books, I've always hated the wings on the feet. I thought they were the stupidest thing. I thought that was like somebody got really high back in the day and came up with a really weird fucking thing, right?
Yeah.
Which, granted, a lot of the comic books that we love came from a place like that. So I'm not knocking it. I'm just saying.
Of course.
I've never liked the wings on the feet for Namor. I always thought it was
I do name Animal Man.
And well, I'm not saying I love it in this. I like it a hell of a lot better in live action than I did in the comics.
Yeah,
and
no
given
doubt.
the nature, wings on the feet, you would think if I was gonna dig it in any medium, it would be like, okay, the comics, but not in live action. I do. Again, I'm not 100% sold on them, but I like them a hell of a lot better in live action than I do in the comic books, and that surprised me.
So while you're on it, Brendan, tell us how you like the character.
I love this. I mean, this actor, he had the charisma and the intensity to be Namor. All right. Whatever people, whatever gripes people may have about not having Atlantis and having Talokan, instead. I mean, to me, I know some people feel differently. This felt like Namor to me. It felt like, and granted, this is only our first introduction to him. We're going to see more. But I felt like he had that kind of suave, that charisma where you could see him trying to seduce Sue Storm, right? He had that.
He's definitely still in Sue Storm.
I thought he was going to get Shuri.
Like that devious nature where you could see him being a ruthless tactician if he needs to be. He flat out said, to Shuri, he's like, if we have to, we'll just kill you all. Right? Like, and he said that without like blinking an eye. Just he has really good charisma as an actor, really good presence. The intensity, it absolutely was there. I feel like this felt like the essence of Namor. While there may be certain things that are specific to the comics that weren't 100%. Again, this is an adaptation, not a translation. And so I think they did a really good job with him. And I think they set up a really interesting path for him moving forward. My hope, because they've kind of, the Marvel, the MCU has had a spotty track record with this. I hope that it's not like 5 or 6 more movies before we see him again. I hope that it's, because like that's the thing. It's like, I feel like, early on in this phase, we got Sam Wilson as Cap, and I wanted to see more of him showing up with a little bit of a presence and developing in that role slightly bit by bit to getting the next Captain America movie. I didn't think we weren't going to see Anthony Mackie as Sam Wilson again in between Falcon and Winter Soldier and Cap 4. That was a very big surprise to me. So I want more development of these characters, of Namor, of Namora, of Atuna. So I hope that we get to see more of him as we go throughout this next phase, and that it's not like, well, we're just waiting until he's like a central role in the very next movie. For him, I don't want it to be 2 years before we get more Namor. I want to see him in more sooner so that we get that development. So when we get to like Secret Wars, it feels like, okay, now we're ready to go. You know what I mean? So I just hope we get more development from him.
Yeah.
And Skylar, the throne scene was phenomenal. I was on the edge of my seat, like, let's fucking go.
Yeah. And the thing is, it was, the dope part about it was, and I'll get to her later on sometime. I do want to quickly talk about her really quick, because I'm gonna get it to a second brother and Jason real quick. But Namora, she was phenomenal in this film, just as his leads, like on his side, that person who basically pushed him, and it was both, you know what I mean, her and Atuma that were like, we need to go to war. Like, we literally need to go to war. And he was already charged, a bit of hesitance at first, but he was already charged to do it, because you can tell that, there was conflict. Namor really, really, really wanted, Wakanda at his side. He really wanted them at his side. He didn't want to go to war, but because what had happened at that point, it was by any means necessary. And that's what we got a chance to basically see in this film, and I loved both actors by his side and the way they portrayed it. I loved seeing the underwater kingdom of Talokan. That was the most beautiful cinematography I have seen in so long. The music choice, everything, the people, everything. It was like, yo, it was a dream come true to see that realized. This is probably going to be a very unpopular opinion, what I'm about to say right now. It's just my opinion. I love this interpretation of a believable underwater kingdom
Say it.
Than what I actually saw in Aquaman.
Yes, that's exactly what I was gonna fucking say. I love it.
I am fucking sorry.
Yep.
See, we circle back, and Lael and I are ready to hug again.
We were always ready to hug. I'm just not gonna hug you butt ass naked. But listen, I
should probably put pants on. You're right.
You put some pants on, motherfucker. But listen, what I'm saying is this was believable. Even the murkiness of the water itself, when they were descending, it looked real. Even when the conversations that they were having, it looked real. I was always in a minority when people were talking about Aquaman and how much they loved it. I did not like that movie. I didn't like it because
I fell asleep on that.
I didn't like it because it was too clean. It was too clean. It was too polished, and it didn't give me that level of realism that I actually wanted.
Everything this in DC movie is so grounded. I love that it was it was like out of the comics when everything else tries to be afraid of being in the comic book. You know what I mean?
I know, but it was just too clean, and I couldn't take it, and I was cringing the entire time. I didn't want. This is what I wanted to basically see. Something. It was so beautifully done, and then on top of that, you see that his people actually loved him. There was love from his people and him for he loved his people loved him. So that's what I definitely appreciated about this film. I love that attribute and the use of vibranium there. And Vinny, we talked about this. I thought that when she used the bracelet to kind of come up with the ingredients needed, the attributes needed for the heart-shaped herb, I thought that she was going to literally develop some different iteration of that herb that also attributed itself to Talokan as well. Like, I mean, thought that's what happened.
Like, you take the herb and you see your ancestral plane, it would only make sense that if you take in the herb from Talokan, you're gonna see the Talokan people probably like, who's this bitch? Where'd she come from?
Yeah.
But I mean, so I guess it's because maybe, but I think that was the point of adding T'Challa's DNA, not for fighting skills, but to make sure he's seen the Black Panther ancestral plane as opposed to the Talokan.
Yeah,
because we've never seen Namor had to take the herb because he hasn't died.
Yeah,
he hasn't. There hasn't been a generational thing of them taking the herb and passing on a mantle. Because he's a mutant. He's just been like, all right. So I don't know if anyone goes through the same process if they take the herb there. I also like that it wasn't. And a lot of people think it was his mom's bracelet that he gave her. Now it was just he made her another friendship bracelet. He gave it to her because he's smooth like that. He was like, you know what? Bitches love friendship bracelets. I'm gonna make her a friendship bracelet. Here you go. Like, we good, right?
Also, this movie had Namor and Aquaman had Orm. I mean, come on. Like,
I can't. The thing is, it's like, I mean, I guess we have to see the second film.
I love that.
You know what? And you know what? I didn't. Another reason why I didn't like that it didn't sit well with me in Aquaman. It was the underuse. They didn't use Black Manta as much as they should have in that film. He should have been used. He should have been used a bit more, bro. As much. I mean, essentially needed. And it isn't a requirement to have him in Aquaman. They just now know the next film they're going to use him more, but they should have just basically taken advantage of what they did in that, and they should have used that.
I heard he's not even going to be the main villain in Aquaman 2.
See, that's fucked up. That's what I'm saying. Like,
I heard it's going to be Amber Heard.
Oh, damn, that's fucked up.
Not Mira. It's
not Mira.
It's Amber Heard.
She's going to be
playing herself. She's the villain.
Yo, Momoa is losing a pinky. I tell you that.
That's fucked. Oh,
she's gonna fling shit at Aquaman's bed.
That's fucked. Y'all some fucking bastards for that. Oh, y'all some fucking bastards for that. I swear to God, y'all some fucking bastards. Y'all going to hell for that, both of y'all.
You saying we're going to hell, but you're not saying we're wrong.
I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm definitely not saying you're wrong, but I'm just saying y'all going to hell for that. But I mean, really, really quick. Damn, he went out again. I'm gonna go to you, brother. Second brother. What did you think of Namor, bro? You can't get it out. Your motherfucker going to hell for that.
Man.
We just got canceled.
Won't be the first time.
That's okay.
Won't be the last.
Nope.
We be hearing from her attorney tomorrow.
You're all wrong. That's fucked
she
up.
better get some better attorneys.
I'm not worried about her attorneys. I think I'm good.
Well, if she can get enough money to get one, we all good. But seeing Namor come to live action, I mean, it's fucking incredible.
Yeah,
and I love the parallels of the show of his upbringing, of his experiences with colonizers, and he probably feel the way of them trying to go after vibranium is they pretty much decimated the Mayan and Aztec civilizations by taking the gold.
Yeah,
it's like I love the parallels between the two. And it's like Namor's like, okay, I've seen this bullshit before.
Yeah,
like I've seen this bullshit before. So you guys are going to try to come down here and take our stuff, and then he's playing this masterful plan of like, okay, we want to keep our shit secret, but Wakanda, they gonna come after y'all.
Yeah.
So he's actually using Wakanda as a pawn and
a shield.
It's a huge game.
Yeah,
it was a huge game that's there. And I love how smooth he was. He was just like, look, we could work together.
Or I can kill you.
I can roll over top of you. The choice is yours. So it was, it was amazing to see. And I could see him playing, I don't want to throw a Star Wars analogy in this, but I could see him playing a role as a Palpatine doing shit in the background.
Oh, yeah.
Doing shit in the background.
He is, because you think about it, he got what he wanted out of the end of this, right?
Right.
They still secret.
Essentially is now like their ally when it comes to conflict with the rest of the world. After the rest of the world, after the French at the beginning are trying to, break in and steal vibranium, they have a shared interest now. And this whole movie just basically made them kind of realize that as Shuri got over her anger, right? So in the end, he got what he wanted. They're uneasy allies, but they're still going to be allies nonetheless. I mean, he was playing chess.
Right.
Playing chess because they both we know now that vibranium exists in both worlds. And it essentially, he was playing chess. They have to work together now. Like, and if called on, he called it. They're going to want their help if called on, because we know the seed has already been planted that the United States is going after Wakanda for its resources. Who are they going to call on? They're going to call on it, Talokan. You know what I mean? So definitely, and to be quite honest, which finally, motherfucking Toys Wonderland, you send me out my Winter Soldier that will be here Thursday after I ordered that motherfucker back in August. Thank you very much for nothing. But anyway, like they're going to basically in Bucky. Can you imagine? And that's what I don't understand. What role is fucking Bucky going to play in this shit?
That is going to be
he has a life debt.
He
has a fucking life debt to Wakanda.
There's so much. There's so much that is going to be going crazy because, I mean, remember now. So the U.S. has interests in vibranium. Remember who else also worked their way back into the good graces of the U.S. government and is a weapons dealer on one of the dirtiest places on the planet, Madripoor. You've got Sharon Carter. Right? She was the power broker in that, and then they bring her back, right? So now with this new, where do you think that she's their best spy character right now? You think she could come into play with Wakanda and with Talokan and dealing with vibranium and their vested interests like other governments? And she's also in that shadowy realm where she can do some really messed up stuff. So there's a lot of that. Like, I feel like this leg of the next MCU like phase, whatever. I feel like there's going to be a lot of espionage involved. Like we're going to have, you know, the multiversal and the Kang and Secret Wars and stuff. But I think with Cap 4 and with some others and even Secret Invasion, stuff like that, we're going to start getting more espionage stuff that harkens back to like Winter Soldier.
I think Buck is going to have to make a hard choice because, you know, he is the White Wolf and everything. Like they've already gave him his name for the country and everything. So he's going to have to make a hard choice. I don't think he's going to betray Wakanda. I think he's going to come to a crossroads in that movie or something. This is my opinion, that he's going to stand with them. That's what I see.
Yeah, but he already got his repossession papers early on.
Yeah,
with a soldier when she took that arm, like
she took that arm off his ass. Yeah.
That scene was awesome. She
definitely take it back.
Took his arm off.
I can imagine Val going to, you know, just letting them know what their objective is. He's like, can I ask you a question real quick?
Yeah.
Are you asking me to do this? Because it may not be, you know, the arm. That may not be cool. Which I'm surprised they didn't go after him for the vibranium on his arm. Like literally. You know what I mean? So
so what do we think? You think now with Val, right, and with Bucky being on that team, what if the Thunderbolts movie involves a conflict with Wakanda?
It probably will. You had her in they didn't have her in the movie for nothing, so you probably will have her.
And you bring in Everett Ross to kind of be that guy who's trying to stop what's going down between the Thunderbolts, a sanctioned CIA sanctioned team essentially, with Val at the head, and Wakanda.
They could be setting that up because that seems to be where they're going with it.
You know what too though about the I was calling them Atlanteans, but the reason why that part on their bridge when they got cut and they healed back up so fast because they got vibranium in their blood. That's why they're blue.
Oh,
yeah,
maybe.
But they didn't get back up blue. To fight in the third act.
Yeah, but the ones on the bridge.
Then I was waiting.
I don't know why.
I was
but
waiting for them to get back up when they were, when they were defeated in the third act. They didn't show that like them keep coming again and again
because in the when Namor told the story about his mother, that was vibranium that she drank.
Sorry, every time somebody says,
you know what I mean. That's why they all turn. That's why they all turn blue in the beginning.
It happens all the time, Leo. You just
butt naked. Good point. That's it.
But it's the butt naked. Like anyway, but go ahead.
That's it.
But it makes a good point. But I see both sides though, Vinny. The vibranium, yes, in the blood. But then again, they have to explain why, unless
they got their ass kicked in the third
unless it was it has a lot to do with them being out of water. But then again, it still doesn't make sense because some of them were in water.
You would think I don't know. Be more powerful in water.
Yeah, I don't know. Not a perfect film. Not a perfect film. Not at all. And we definitely I get that. Really quick, we gotta real quick so we can close this out real quick. We already like 3 hours and 12 minutes. This is like the longest fucking show that we have. Chris, I'm sorry, bro. This is the longest show that we have ever had.
We was on here going off.
The movie had some of the best cinematography, soundtrack, and acting from an MCU film yet this year. However, the story fell short for me. I'm curious as to what the original script looked like. Definitely.
Yeah, me too.
Definitely. And that's another thing that I had to look at. Is it the fact that look, was this a perfect film? Not by a long shot.
No.
Not by the long shot. And the thing is, but I understood what Ryan had to accomplish rewriting in a short amount of time. You know what I mean? Rewriting this actual film. And I'm sure he included some original elements from the first script and then had to rewrite and rework some things in because he had intent. Even when they talked about this film, when Ryan Coogler talked about this film before T'Challa died, when they talked about it originally, he had said he didn't want people to know who the villain was, but he knew it was going to be a great story. This is right before, Chadwick Boseman passed away. So I guarantee you, it would have been okay if we would have saw that battle a totally different way.
Because he was souped about Namor being in the movie. He was excited.
We just saw that battle, but again.
Wasn't perfect, but I think it was probably the best that we could have expected anybody to deliver under the circumstances.
Without having him in the movie.
I feel like this film, if Chadwick was with us, it would have been just a lot more back and forth. Well, attacking each other. There'd probably been a second action scene, second act that was more action scene oriented. Take out the the morning stuff. So I feel like it probably wasn't super far off track
from what we got, but still, I think he killed it. It wasn't a perfect movie, but I will say it was a perfect movie for me. I loved it. I'm going to see it more times. I'm psyched about it. The soundtrack was incredible for the culture. Number one, Ryan Coogler nailed it. There was rumors. There's rumors. I think that's been struck down. I don't know, but Ryan Coogler himself said he doesn't know anything about that. But there was rumors that he might be up to direct Secret Wars, but he said, I don't know anything about that. I don't know what people are talking about. But again, directors, actors always say shit like that. So again, I think
there'll be an Andrew Werner No Way Home until opening day. And
exactly. Exactly.
There's just a lot of great possibilities for us to wonder about right now, and that's a good thing.
Yeah, it definitely is. And I think Ryan deserves it. I can honestly say this was a palate cleanser from that dumpster fire as a fucking film as Thor: Love and Thunder. I don't care what nobody says. That shit was trash.
Yeah, we've had we've had some discussions. We're all not generally
not
fans
at all
of Thor: Love and Thunder.
Not a fan of it.
This was refreshing.
This was definitely Chris. How did you feel about Thor: Love and Thunder, bro? Did you like?
Yo, please tell him you loved it just to watch his head explode.
Look. I thought I didn't mind the overall story, and I actually liked how it ended. I liked the him taking the daughter. I actually liked that. I thought it was touching, but I will say this: I think Christian Bale and his character was so underutilized. Yeah, and I really like what he did with what Waititi did with Ragnarok and balancing the humor and everything.
Yeah.
It was like, I understand not taking things too seriously, but this was too much of a like. Yeah, everyone's dumb. Everyone's the whole
jokey joke about cancer would turn me off completely. Them joking about, I'm just like, that movie sucked, bro.
I mean, we had an animated dumpling in the movie. Like, come on, dude.
Come on.
And the thing is, the problem with it, and I don't want to hang around it too much. The problem was we got a preview of that character in What If, and they did exactly what I didn't think they were. I didn't think they were going to go that route, but it was a continuation of that character from What If, and I'm like, wow, y'all really did that. Like, and you knew to the character. Number one, it was the same feeling I got from She-Hulk with the Hulk, which we won't go into because that's another.
Nah, hell no. But no, that's it. Too late for that shit.
It's way too late for that shit. But again,
especially since we started this stream yesterday.
It's a new day.
Chris is on the West Coast, so
it's a new day.
Honestly, you're right. We did. Anyway, we're gonna close this out really quick. Really quick before we leave.
Child is now 18.
He's not right? I want to go around real quick, and I want to know everybody's rating for the film because I promised everybody yesterday I would give them my ratings of this film. I just didn't do it. So, Vinny, your rating?
I give it. Shit. I've been bouncing around between 7.5 and 8. I'll probably wind up sticking with 7.5 just because I feel like I don't know. There were just some things that took it down, but 7.5 is still pretty good. It's above average, and but I usually have to see it at home before I can really give it a solid rating and stick to it. It's hard. Even theater, like I need to hear it at home with the proper audio and see it the correct way. But in that neighborhood,
when it drops at the crib, that day.
Vinny's got an audio set up
that day, and like I'm not.
Yo.
No bullshit that day.
If I had money, I swear to God, if I had money like that, I would pay for everybody's fucking plane ticket and get them here that day so you can hear it in his crib. It is fucking unbelievable. Like literally, it is unbelievable. I've never heard something so crisp, better than what you would hear in the theater. Literally.
You said you haven't heard the Batmobile come to life until you've heard it.
In that crib. Like literally, until you've never heard a lightsaber. Until you've heard it in his crib. It is that impactful. But definitely, bro.
Absolutely.
Chris,
Day one. Cool.
Day one. Chris, what is your rating, bro?
Man, I'm the same way. Like, I usually like to watch a movie a second time before I rate it, and especially putting it in like my top MCU movies. It's so hard for me to rate this because, you know, just like we've said multiple times tonight, this did something that was, you know, it was a rock and a hard place. Nothing was gonna, you know, be the right way of doing this. So with that being said, though, I do look at it. I'm doing my best to separate. This is just a movie, and then what it transcended and what it meant because of, you know, the unfortunate passing of Chadwick. As a movie, and again, you know, give me credit here because there ain't no hypothetical. Well, what did you rate? What if you know Chadwick didn't die and all this? I can't do it. No, so I'm still giving it an overall 9 out of 10 as movie, character, story, plot, acting, everything. But I'm giving this movie a 10 out of 10 because I'm telling you, man, that 5 minutes at the end when it was just quiet.
Yep.
And she burned that robe.
Yep.
And Letitia, not Shuri, Letitia
cried. Yeah.
Was in front of a camera and just let it out. And we saw all those clips of Chadwick come on screen. That this movie will be forever ingrained is something that, again, transcends Hollywood, transcends films, and speaks volumes to something so much bigger than anything. And on that, you know, context, that's why it's a perfect 10 out of 10.
Got you. Definitely, bro. I'm right there with you. Jedi Pimp, your ratings for this film?
I always do a 5-star rating, so for me, it's a 3 out of 5.
Got you. That's still good, bro. That's still dope. That's definitely dope. Definitely dope. Second brother, what's your rating for this, bro?
I would say about my rating right now, because I have to see it, like look at the film like at least 3 or 4 times to get everything out of it. But as of right now, it's an 8.5. And I know after I see it again, and especially if I get it back at home, it's probably going to raise up to a 9.
Yeah, mine will probably raise when I see it at home.
Definitely. Butt naked assassin. Your rating for this?
I give it an 8 out of 10. With room to grow. I give the film an 8 out of 10. I give Angela Bassett a 10 out of 10.
Right.
Oh yeah, she's flawless. She's by herself.
And I think that again, I've only been able to see it once, and there's so much to unpack with this film that judging it based on one viewing is, I feel like, premature. Like my gut says 8 out of 10. Watching it more and really just kind of soaking in, you know, certain scenes, you know, it may go up. I don't see it going down because all the things that I thought were flaws, none of them made me not like the movie. And none of them were something that were so difficult that I feel like it's going to make me like it less on subsequent viewing. It's like, I know what my criticisms are, and I'm like, I know what they are, and I'm okay. I'm over those, right? So now it's just letting the performances kind of wash over me and see, you know, if they elevate that score even more. I don't see it going down. So solid 8 out of 10 for me. Where it stands with, you know, some of the others. Again, in this phase, I really loved Shang-Chi and I really loved No Way Home. So I'm not really sure on the, you know, on that comparison scale where it's going to fall just yet. I'm glad that this was how we capped off phase 4, and it gives me hope for phase 5.
Definitely, bro. Definitely. That's a solid score, and it's a solid reasoning, definitely, for Mr. Butt Naked. My rating for this, because I've seen it twice, and I'm going to go again. Me and Toya are definitely going to go again because she loved it. My first viewing of it that night, You know, Vinny, you know how excited I was about that film. I gave it a 9.5 out of 10. That was my first viewing because it gave me the right amount of emotional beats that I wanted. And I was following the story of both, Shuri and Ramonda. Because, like I said, that loss needed to be felt. And I think they did such a great job with delivering or paying homage to Chadwick Boseman and giving the right beats. Because, Chris, in Second Brother, you're right. What we seen on that camera wasn't the actors. I mean, wasn't the characters. We saw the actors and their emotions. Letitia Wright's emotions, raw emotions. Angela Bassett's raw emotion. You know, uh, you know, uh, uh, um, Lupita Nyong'o's raw emotions. You know what I mean? Denai Guerrera, raw emotions. You know what I mean? We saw those emotions played out on screen. Um, and real special shout out to M'Baku, dope character, just
Winston Duke, man.
Winston Duke,
He's such a good actor.
And
Winston Duke.
Lupita, they also revealed that she's a mutant in this because no one can look that beautiful in real life. She's
Exactly. She's a mutation.
She's a
She's
mutant.
definitely a mutation. Definitely a mutation. But yes, so that was my first viewing of it. The second viewing I watched and I really dove into the characters and I heard it the right way and the way I wanted to hear it. And for me, again, this is me, just for me, I'm a solid 10 out of 10 on this film because I got what I wanted from this film. I got exactly what I wanted. I got the right, even with some of the things that weren't needed, I gave it a solid 10 out of 10 because I actually love this franchise. I love this film and I love the cultural references. And I was so happy to see Mexican, Mesoamerican representation in this film. And it was a slap in the fucking face to all the pushback that they've been getting for so many fucking years. Now I hope people do their research like I have for so many years and how rich the culture is and how important the culture is. It was a slap in the face. It was a big fuck you to everybody that basically feels as though the culture is not important. And I'm happy to see that, definitely. But yeah, that's basically my take. If I had to rate my films of the year, and I'm just going to say this really quick, and then we're going to bounce. I'm going to recognize some of these super chats that we got real quick. I would say I love the Eternals, which was my number 5. To be quite honest, No Way Home was my number 4. Multiverse of Madness. I love that film. A lot of people basically don't like it, but I love that film. That was my number. That was my number 3. My number 2 was Shang-Chi, and this is my number 1. That's just my ratings of films that are important, and they're my top 5. That's just where I'm at. But anyway, we're going to bounce out in a second. I want to recognize these super chats that we got really, really quick. We got damn, and my computer's a fuck up all the time. We got a $9.99 super chat by Hollywood E-Rock. I would have loved it more. I would have loved if more screen time was dedicated to Shuri. Some flashback scenes with younger training. Yeah, her brother and father would have added more layers to this version of her character. I agree. That'd have been dope. That'd definitely been dope. And then we got another super chat by Hollywood E-Rock. That's a dope ass name, Hollywood E-Rock. Yeah, I like that. Let me see. Once this goes down, I got to pull up the last one real quick. Another super chat by Hollywood E-Rock comes in and he says, or it was supposed to come up here. My computer's acting dumb, but he comes up really quick. He says, come on, man. Here we go. Yeah, movie was good, and Hot Toys needs to give us more than one figure from the movie. You damn right. I hope they do, and I think they will. I definitely think they will deliver. But yes, thank you guys for coming through. Real quick, Rick, Chris, what you got going on your channel, bro?
Oh man, what don't I got going on? Hey, it's I'm just, for anyone that isn't familiar with me, man, I'm all about anything comics, from speculating to investing to bagging and boarding to how to store comics, pressing, anything. I also like to use any platform that I'm on to, talk about things that really matter, to get down to human issues,
yes,
and to use my platform for us as a community, whether it be a comic book community, virtual community, to better ourselves as human beings. And I like to have open discussions. That might not be for everyone, but that's what I'm doing. You know, I'm there almost 7 days a week, man. So yeah.
Well, Chris, let me ask you a question, bro. Very important question. This is very serious. And I have to be serious with a straight face. When can I get on your show, bro?
Oh man, let's do it. Let's do it. ASAP. How about that?
ASAP, bro. All you got to do is send me a message, and I'm there. And you know, and both of us, literally, bro. Maybe the success of that show will get us the keys to the kingdom. Ain't that right, Vinny?
I knew it was coming.
Leo takes every chance he gets. He goes for it.
I mean, I wasn't gonna say shit till I saw you put your hand on your face, bro.
Because I could tell. Yo, I could always tell because when you drop your voice, get serious. It's like, all right, I'm gonna figure out a way
to put it in there, bro. Like you think it wasn't gonna happen? Like you really thought it wasn't gonna actually happen? It was going down, bro. I was gonna basically bring it up, definitely. But yo, man, definitely, bro. I mean, I'm ASAP. You let me know, and I will etch out the time, and I will be there, bro. Like straight up, because I love that platform. I love to basically have that space that we can speculate, we can talk about all things comics, and you know, again, really, you know, real world shit. You know what I mean? You know, we can talk about why Brenda needs to wear some fucking pants. You know what I mean? Like literally, we can definitely throw that up in there, man. Like, I mean, that works.
Hell no.
You know what I mean?
Stop trying to put me in a box, man.
How we gonna put you in the box all day?
I need to be free.
Thank you for being here, man. If y'all haven't followed this man's content, some of the dopest content, and come on, man, the hat says it all. What's up, bro? Shout out all day.
Really
you already know all day. Definitely, man. Benny, what you now? Again, the link to everybody's channel and their Instagram is actually in the description. So definitely, Benny, what you got going over there in Vincent Dunn's world, bro?
Man, I'm looking forward to just getting to more art projects. I got a bunch of stuff lined up that I'm going to be getting to, a bunch of different genres, and I got some fine art stuff that I'm working on as well. So juggling a lot with that. Just looking forward to probably making time to go see this Wakanda Forever again. Looking forward to Andor wrapping up, and then it's just, you know, more time digesting comics and reading more, and looking to catch up. I'm behind on reading, so I gotta dig in and get on the grind with that, and that's about it. Hopefully you know, just get caught up with that and just keep churning out more and more art. So I'm just looking forward for that. Anybody wants to grab some prints, just head on over to my IG. It has a link to my store. Tons and tons of prints on there. Hey, Christmas is coming, y'all, so shoot on over.
Definitely, man. Thank you for actually coming through. And again, if you haven't already, Vincent Dunn Art, the link to his store is in the description. So definitely make sure you do so. And unfortunately, not everybody's going to make it to see the room, but you know, again, it just happens that way. Jedi Kid, real quick, because I wanted to actually wait until after the show was over to read you this, because we had an anonymous person basically send this in, and they wanted me to read this to you. Okay.
Oh boy.
No, listen to me. I want to read this.
All right.
Leo, what's up, man? I follow your show. All your content is incredible, especially hearing the stories from Jedi Kid himself. Jason, understanding he was in the military. I'm a military vet myself, and watching him and knowing that we actually have a space that I can actually come on and get past my depression, PTSD, and see another fellow brother in the military talk about things that I love. It gives me joy. Tell him from the bottom of my heart, thank you for the content. Thank you for the simple fact that he is representing us in the military, and it can be a lighter side than what we've actually experienced in the military. Thank you very much. And also let him know that I got something coming from him that I'm going to send to you. Please don't tell him who I am until he receives it.
No doubt.
So
that's much appreciated, brother.
Yeah, definitely. He wanted to so
no doubt. No doubt.
Yeah. But yeah, what you got going on, man? Besides smacking people?
Bro, I had a great weekend, man. I'm not even in the groove yet, man. I'm not even This Veterans Day weekend was awesome with the family, bro. Orlando trips. I got to see. I went to see Black Panther early. Just living life this weekend, man. It like trickled off into Monday, but other than that, man, I'm catching up on a bunch of comics that Brendan recommended. I was in my boy's store before I went on vacation, man. I kept calling Brendan. I know he was getting on my nerves. Like, yo, what did you say? This book? That, bro, I bought like. How many books I bought that night? Probably like 80 books. Brendan said, get this. I wrote it down like, okay. I said, Eddie, let me get this. Bro, I was in the store for like an hour. I kept calling Brendan, bro.
His cousin had the whole table laid out with all the new books that just came out, right? And he's like, which ones did you say had a new number one? And I'm just like, just look at the table and anything that has a fucking one in the corner, grab it. Like, oh my God.
Yo, Brendan was so like, but he was mad patient with me, dog. Because when I cut loose in the comic book store, I'm like a kid, man. So I was getting excited. I saw when I bought every number one that he said, and I got the Ghost Rider. I found a Kingdom Come, bro. Because I have the OG Kingdom Come books, the standalones. I found one solid book with all the stories in it with the Alex Raw. I went nuts, bro. Oh, I can't wait to start. I'm gonna start. I got to finish reading this week.
Haul. You got a good haul.
Yeah, hell yeah, definitely. I was like a 12-year-old, bro. I said, Brendan, what book it? I need Brendan. Help me out, bro. What am I looking for?
He did phone a friend in the comic book shop. I never heard that one.
My wife is next to me in the car. I'm taking my youngest back home from karate. My wife is in the car, and he's calling. He's asking me about it, and she's like, "Who is it? Is this the first time he's read comics?" I'm like, no, he's been reading for like 40 years. Oh,
that's
man.
fucked up.
It's all good. It's all good.
Yeah, it was fun, man. That was a fun day, dog.
Definitely funny. Jedi Kid on Instagram. If you haven't already, check him out. Great poses, figures. You can also catch him on Figure Flex Friday with like 18,000 photos that he actually.
That's by accident. I don't do that on purpose, bro.
You say it's by accident every week.
It is, dog. I don't mean to be doing it. I just get camera crazy. I'm sorry.
No, it's all good. It's all. No, don't say sorry. Just keep doing it. It just makes some funny shit.
When I go outside in the yard, man, forget about it, yeah.
You know, we used to think you showing out because that's your yard. It's anyway.
Yeah.
It's fucked up. And not everybody can have people like that, motherfucker. Anyway, second brother, man, what's going on with you, bro? What can we expect?
Man, it ain't nothing, man.
Let's do the best on Thursday.
Oh man. You know, just sitting there maintaining, man, is good to, have a different type of talk with you guys. Love the debate. Man, what's going on with me? I got to get on a plane in about maybe 5.5 hours from now.
You to hit the rack, boy.
Yeah, man. And I got to head out out west, out to Arizona, go to Cochise Mountain, try to cleanse my soul a little bit before I come back.
That's what I'm talking about.
Do that for a little bit, be back. Hopefully make best of the best. I had to let my brother, I know he's probably listening. I may make it, I may not. Especially if I see what I saw the last time I went there.
Get that VA weed. That VA good old weed. Good old VA weed.
Oh, that's another story. Right
that's
there.
Another story, Hill.
So, man, just maintaining, brother. That's it.
Appreciate you, bro. It's a fucking family show. Talking about weed.
Hey, VA weed.
Anyway,
I love how you just said it's a fucking family show.
That's it.
I know, right?
VA weed.
Anyway, thank you, second brother, for being here as always, man. Thank you.
Always, man. Love it.
On, man. Thank you very much for that. Butt naked. Yeah, bro. What you got going on?
It's been a great. Today was actually my wife's 40th birthday.
Happy birthday, mama!
That's awesome. Yeah, I told her happy birthday,
man. Mama out there, I don't know how
to happy birthday.
His butt naked ass, but you are a champ for doing it.
So we had a good day. We had a good day with the kids and everything. I mean, I'm looking forward to. I mean, this is a good week. Wednesday is new comic book day. Thursday, join the Uncivilized Scoundrels Thursday nights. It's wrap up Andor. Can't wait for that. It's been a masterpiece. And tomorrow is the big day. Tomorrow, my half-scale Queen Studios Endgame Captain America should be here.
That's awesome.
I'm excited about that. Got to get a bigger house, but I'm excited about that.
Yeah, I got mine coming.
But yeah, other than that, just I can't thank Chris enough for coming through today. Like you said, everybody go check out his channel.
Yes.
For one, just great conversations, content around speculation, investing in comic books, if that's something that you're trying to, dip your toes into. But also stuff like if you don't know which bags and boards you should be using for which comic books and which eras because the sizes are different and things like that. He's got content on that. He's got like stuff that as a collector of comic books makes your life so much easier. Like when you're adding a new short or long box to your collection and not having to shift everything one box. So like figuring out how to move books so that you can slot new stuff in and make space, cleaning and pressing, guides to all that kind of stuff. He does a ton of great content on that. So definitely check his channel out. Also,
check us out.
Also,
I'm going on that show. Fuck that. I'm bullying.
And actually, Chris and I just did a stream on his channel on Wednesday night. That was great. So go and check that out on the replay. And then for at least until their schedule changes for the rest of 2022, he does a comic book canon show with it's Jeff, right?
Yep.
So check out Comic Book Canon on YouTube. You can see a show that they do every Sunday night that is awesome. Great community in there. Cool segments where you can share your recent pickups from the comic book shop. You can do the their props or flops segment where you talk about people can submit on Instagram and stuff what they've picked up, and is it a good investment, or is it a flop, is it a prop? So fun segments like that are a little bit different from the typical stuff that our audience usually goes toward with like hot toys and statues and stuff. So if you like this show and then you want more about the actual like collecting side, investing side of comics and the care for the physical books and stuff like that, definitely check out his channel, have some good conversations, drop the likes and get in the chat because it's always a really good atmosphere. And if you disagree with him, he'll probably invite you onto the stream. So there you go.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, just give everybody some love, grow the community, cross over the community between the book side and the statues and the hot toys, and let's get everybody together. So it was really good to have everybody here tonight.
Definitely, man. As always, Brennan, aka Butt Naked Assassin Collector Without Fear on Instagram. And yeah, everybody, thank you. Everybody, thank you out there
Lael's
for
mom's favorite son.
God, he ain't gonna let me lay that shit down.
I mean, she said it, so I'm just saying.
She didn't say you were her favorite son. She just said she loves you. And she loves your you know what? Don't milk that shit, bro, because I'll get you canceled. I'll just be like, Mom, your
mom loves me. You don't even try.
I'll be like, Mom, Brendan say he don't like black folks.
That's a good way to get out the house. That's a good way to get out of the black house.
Now, see, I know that's not
a heartbeat.
I know that's not. I know that wouldn't work because both her and LaToya have said Brendan must have been black in another life. So both of them have said that. So I'm just, even though I'm like whiter than fucking bedsheets, still, you know
what?
But hey. Your mom loves
you. Hang up, man.
We know it.
Man, listen, y'all out there, listen, thank you for basically coming on. Everybody out in the chat, thank you for your contributions as well. All proceeds, all super chats that we actually got are going towards, and I thank you from the bottom of my heart because we had a lot of them that actually came through. All proceeds are going towards the homeless people who need to eat, haven't actually had food and don't have food for the holiday. All the proceeds, and we'll be contributing that towards such a great cause. Again, thanks for all you've actually done towards the Thanksgiving initiative. Again, the whole month of Christmas as well. Again, this is what we were putting. This is, I feel as though us, when Chris, you talk about the platform in which you utilize for to basically bring consciousness to just normality to humanity. And I think this is also a position that we should be in. It should be spread around to a lot of content creators, a lot of those out there who have larger platforms, that you should be able to actually give back to those that are less fortunate and those who do not have and have gone without. It is our responsibility to do so. So definitely, if I have to basically be the initiator for that, and I'll definitely do till the day I die. So again, Chris, again, thank you for being here, brother. You let me know when I can come on, and I am there all day, every day, bro, because I love your energy. I love basically what you stand for. And yes, again, maybe we can both get in that fucking room. Like literally, we got to get in Vinny's room, man. That's just how it is. But anyway, thanks everybody for being here again. Until next time, until next week, you know what I mean? Collect some comics. Get out there. New Comic Wednesday. Come on, man. You already know what day it is. As a matter of fact, everybody out there. What'd you say?
Said love you, Mama Rockwell.
You know what?
I know exactly what he's trying to do right now.
Yeah, please forgive us for this foolery.